top.
Who's down there? Oh, Joe's down there. Hey,
Hey,
Joe.
how's it going?
Hey,
All
Joe.
right, guys, we're live.
Hey, everyone.
Yeah. We're here to talk about this new sketch that was recently released. What did you guys think when you first saw it?
It's so exciting. Like none of the puzzles have ever had like two pictures before.
Right?
That's exactly right. I'll tell you what, the first thing I thought, and it was just one of those things, since I'm an artist and I create a lot of different things and I have for the last 40 years. When I first saw it and I saw the conversation everybody was having, the excitement was really cool to see.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the first thing I thought, understanding where Kit would be coming from as the artist, trying to develop this with JM, my first thought was, wow, this is really early in the process. And they are trying to figure out, okay, we know where the end of this puzzle and this treasure is going to be, but where are we going to start? And the reason I bring that up is when you're doing something like this, which I personally am in the middle of creating artwork for a new treasure hunt. I'm not going to say who's doing it, but I'm going to say it's going to take a while. It'll be at least 6 months or so. When you do this, you start to develop lots of different drawings as an artist, trying to figure out how you're going to go from the end to the beginning, not the other way around. And what I saw, a lot of people were talking about what was going on, and oh my God, this has to be this and this has to be that. The sketches, even as Kit had mentioned on one of the posts, he said this is one of several things he did. And I've already done several sketches for the one I'm working on. So it's kind of cool to see this because this is obviously a developmental piece where we don't know where JM wants to start, but we know where he wants us to end, because you don't do a treasure hunt like this without understanding the ending. It's a matter of where do you want your searchers to start. So the only thing I saw out of this was, wow, this is really kind of cool to see his thoughts and JM's thoughts on the developmental process of where we're going to begin.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That is interesting.
It's so different too, you know?
Yeah, that was my first take on how completely different it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only piece that's remotely the same is the part of the bridge that looks like the Bernheim Bridge, the emblem.
Yeah.
And then you have the X, the circle with the X. That's got to be meaningful if it's in both the image and this drawing.
Oh,
Right.
totally
Yeah,
agree.
so I looked into that myself. It's on the Daniel Boone statue. He's got on his chest two little circles with like crosses on them. It's some sort of, I don't know, stylistic thing. It's part of his shirt if you see it on the statue.
Yeah.
That's what I think they are. But I don't know, you know? It's like you've got it on the end of the hatchet, which is on the Boone statue as well in the released, picture. But that was the first thing that caught my eye as well, is seeing that on the tree.
Gotcha. Yeah.
All right, do you all want to talk about what is similar, since we just mentioned what's different?
Sure.
And okay, so first would be the X marks, well, marks the spot. Clearly, if the body is supposed to be somewhat like Pan or the cattails, and that's the dragon, those two things, the Christensen and the Pan Fountain, are imperative to the puzzle. And the Bernheim, those three things.
Right.
They're right there.
Are we maybe almost setting up
Yeah.
like a perimeter maybe or something like that even?
It's
Yeah,
possible.
it's
I don't know if they're gonna let you in. What? Puts you down as Alan. And then
Hey, Alan, we're going to have a full house tonight, you guys.
All right, it's
The one
anagram
married,
guy. I didn't know I was on this. I'm on George's phone.
Oh my God, are you?
Yes.
That Sunday? It is Sunday.
Yeah, it's Sunday.
Hi.
Sunday on a Friday.
Sunday on a Friday.
Oh, you want in? You want in? All right, everybody's coming in.
Okay.
I gotta aim it correctly.
Right.
Hi. Yeah, let me put you guys up. Let's see.
There we go.
Hi.
And there's Aiden. There's Alex.
Hi.
Destiny.
Bye, everyone.
George.
Hey.
That's pretty funny.
Oh, yes.
What
How
are
are
we-
you guys liking Florida?
Well, it's not 103 here.
Nice.
It was only 78 today, and we went to the beach yesterday and today, so it's lovely.
Nice.
Y'all like that.
Our house still hasn't sold, but it'll sell. The
Yeah.
house is amazing.
Oh, no. I don't want me over there. I wanted you guys over there.
No, we want you, Sunday.
Yes.
All right. So we were just diving into the sketch.
We were just diving into some all-you-can-eat crab legs.
Nice.
All-you-can-eat crab legs, and we picked out tonight.
I saw that.
So Alan,
I've
have you
seen the
seen
sketch. I haven't put much work into it yet.
Okay.
This
That
is
was
the
fun.
tribute hunt, right?
Yes.
The sketch by Kit.
Yep. It's kind of reinvigorated it. There's been a lot of
Absolutely. I
excitement
mean,
going on.
you've got all new clues to consider. Just think if we had 2 pictures for every secret hunt, it would be amazing.
Wouldn't it though?
Right.
It would.
So we were just talking about maybe we've got 3 things for sure that seem to be. I'm gonna let's see. Hold on just a second. Okay, we've got 3 things for sure that we know that Leanne was just giving us. You want to give those again, Leanne?
But we have the Bernheim Bridge. We have the Christensen Dragon Head.
Hold on.
The body.
Oh,
What we
did he
think is-
go? George was gonna say something anyway.
He'll come back.
Yeah.
The pan with the cattails. That would be 3, and then also maybe as a 4, that little X circle that we know that's on Boone.
Yeah, I took both of these pictures and I kind of wrote in what I thought the clues were, and that's like the absolute same thing I'm seeing is that the same objects around the park are being represented in different ways. So you've got the plus that's on the tree in the sketch, which I think is a symbol on Boone. We see the same symbol on the hatchet in the release painting, which has the hatchet as well, which does indicate Boone. And I think if there are things included from the verse into the paintings, a man of adventure stands at the beginning and end. For me, that's always been Boone, because he's at the beginning of the scenic loop, and not all the objects in the painting show up throughout the scenic loop, but a lot of the ones that are in this painting and the sketch are in the scenic loop. The Hogan's Fountain and Christensen Fountain. The Bernheim Bridge, though, is not.
It's not.
Bernheim Bridge is not, though. Right.
That's true. It's not, but what is right next to the Bernheim Bridge? Big Rock.
Big Rock.
right.
Big
Right.
Rocks
They're
was
kind
one
of on the
Yeah, they're within like
different side of the park.
200 yards of each other.
Is anyone
Right,
else
and that's
in here
definitely something in the
Louisville?
painting.
Yeah. Well,
I've been to the park.
I'm from Louisville, but I've lived in Cincinnati since 1990.
Okay, well, I'm from here and I live here.
Oh,
So-
cool. Where do you live, Joe?
Over in Hikes Point.
Am I reading your name right? Is it Joe?
Joe, yeah. I'm
Okay.
actually about 2.5 miles from the park.
Oh, so you're in Hikes Point.
Nice.
Okay,
Over
cool.
by
Cool.
Bowman
Wow.
Field. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Cool.
I've been there a few times.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
So if anyone has any questions about on the ground
Rich,
stuff,
I
I've
haven't
been
seen you
in
in
that
forever.
park
Just gotta say hi.
a lot.
How many days a week do you go
Hey,
treasure
Evie.
hunting?
Well, I just kind of found this randomly about a year ago, and I didn't really put too much into it until I guess the last few months. So I'm still fairly new with all of it, but I catch on pretty quick. So
I have a question.
yes.
How many of you think? I mean, we all heard the rumor that there was a pre-tribute puzzle. I mean, this is news to me. I've been working with Rich and Jimmy for a while on tribute, years, and I don't remember that rumor that there was a initial puzzle that the OGs figured out quickly, and
Yeah.
that they possibly had to move the spot. That's kind of what I'm understanding is the rumor.
Yes.
And I didn't know that until recently. I don't remember that rumor ever going around. Number one, is this a sketch for that original puzzle? We don't know because Kit answered ambiguously.
Right.
To me, it sounded like it was for the one that they figured out, possibly.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I think he would have just said yes. I don't know, but that would lead me to believe that it was in Cherokee Park as well. They just, I don't know. I mean, what do y'all thought? What are y'all thinking about that?
I'm 100% sure it's in the park. Like there's no doubt.
Yeah,
I'm
because
I didn't
wondering-
hear anything
I've
about
I've
that
actually
either.
talked to Kit a little. I think the sketch, there were a few elements on there that obviously aren't in the portrait, the painted image that we have. So I think you're right, Leanne. I think that may have been part of a concept for the initial, if that's what happened.
Okay.
And then
And
they
you-
used some of the similar elements for the painting.
And you think that the initial was also possibly in Cherokee?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking. But-
So there's something else that I don't remember if someone brought up or not, but there's a tree in both images. What's the significance with the tree?
Oh yeah,
You
so
know?
here's something really cool I've seen. In the painting, there's that branch.
Mhm.
Someone posted a while ago. I can find the post, but it is like 1-to-1 with the biggest tree in that little triangle right outside of Christensen Fountain. Like it is spot on.
Oh, I like that triangle.
So, and I looked into the tree in the sketch. I couldn't find it, but you see there are these like black rods sticking out of it, and there's the screw in
Yeah.
it. There were like 3. I think they were like sycamore trees or something. They're called the Three Sisters. You can find them if you look it up. But there are these trees that had been like screwed together to each other with bars because they're these like ancient trees in the park. So I don't think they looked like the one in the sketch at all, but they did have black bars, and screws sticking out of them. So
Right.
You know what that reminded me of? JM made a post about man and nature coming together as one and being beautiful.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was
interesting.
Yes.
when I was at the park, I seen them three sisters, and they're like screwed together almost in the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay, so you know what I'm
that
talking
is
about.
interesting. Jimmy, what part of the park is that tree in?
It's right by bridge number 5. It's like going off a scenic loop. You got to go a little bit a ways. If I look at the map, I'd be able to tell you right where it's at. But it's right by bridge number 5.
It's still on the scenic loop.
Right.
Yeah, it's still on the scenic loop. It's just past it's
Let me look
it's
at Google Earth.
if you leave Big Rock and go, I guess, north on the scenic loop, you'll run into it on the right.
Sorry, I'm getting the slide, but it's
You're doing great. You're fine.
I sent the picture of the tree in the. It was Emily Burke sent a post in the tribute, the one that I saw at least, with a comparison for the tree branch in the painting to the tree outside Christensen Fountain.
Plus that the part like right above the dog's head profile
Let's see how it is.
is very similar to that cut in shape between the Daniel Boone Monument and say Cherokee Parker Road to the west. It has that sharp sort of C or L shape.
If you need a different pick, just let me know.
What
I don't know what
bridge
it
number-
means.
It's right in the area where it says nature preserve. It's right over there. I know for sure.
Right.
Oh, by the bird thing.
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
before it. You know the bridge that has the same shape as like the axe handle.
Yeah.
There's a street that's like leading off a scenic loop in between bridge number 5 and that other bridge, and it's right there. Like you could like when there's no leaves on the trees, you could stand in that bridge number 5. You could see the tree.
Okay.
That's right.
All right.
Interesting.
Well, that's an interesting thing about the tree with the nails or the spikes or whatever you want to call it. I didn't think about that, but that does remind now.
Yeah,
that's something-
that kind of reminds me of it.
It does. I don't know what that means, but
Yeah, because this is a very odd shape. Like, Rich, you would be able to speak to it more than I as an artist, but like, I mean, there's some, I guess, deliberate choices, I guess you would say, going on here. Like the
Yeah.
trunk is
The
thinner
tree
at
looks
the
like the most
bottom.
detailed thing in the picture anyway, right?
Yeah, Cam, that's exactly right. I think one of the other things when you were just talking about this moments ago that really intrigued me is what isn't in this sketch.
Big
I actually, I have like a little list.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the drinking fountain, the wavy wall, that are both at the beginning of the scenic loop. The high gold facade is not in there. There's no monarch butterfly. There's no Christensen shield. There's no bench side, beneath the little what am I looking for?
Right.
Probe.
The hut.
Yeah, the big rock exactly is not in there.
Right.
You don't have that dog head, which is like the Hogan's fountain, the little feet are like the Hogan's fountain. So we see objects like the wavy wall, the park benches, the drinking fountain, maybe the monarch because they're the monarch, conservatory things all around the park.
Right.
Aside from those slight objects, a lot of the clues seem to bring you to the similar places: Hogan's fountain, Christensen fountain. But there are a couple things here that are definitely different.
Yeah, that comes to a point of, are these things all way markers? And what I mean by way marker is it's something like that I learned from George Ward years ago in 2018 when I first came upon The Secret, is there's way markers in all these clues, meaning just because you see something and you recognize what it is doesn't mean that's where the cask is buried.
oh yeah.
And as a new treasure hunter, when I started doing this, my God, every time I figured something out, I just figured, oh, it has to be here. Not understanding the wonderful world of way markers. And one of the things I would point out here, as I go back to what I was saying with, if this is one of Kit and JM's first developmental ideas of, and God knows, Kit probably did 10 drawings to try to figure out where they wanted to go with this, where they wanted to start the searchers. Find this spot and start from here. This could easily be a point of where the Bernheim Bridge post marker is down there at the bottom underneath the tree. Maybe they were thinking we need to start down here at the Bernheim Bridge and then we'll go from there. My point is, there's so many different things that could happen here. But the first thing I looked at when I first saw this sketch a couple of weeks ago, and I saw that dog, horse, dragon head, whatever you want to call it. I've always been telling everybody I think it's a combination. In the final painting, I think it's a combination of several animals. But now that you guys bring it up, that head looks like it's a combination of a horse the dragon, because you look at his teeth. Maybe
Yeah.
and I bring up some kind of dog. Now, if you guys know me, you know I've done a lot of artwork with dogs.
Yeah.
Some dogs' teeth will come up the other way outside their mouth, depending on. But that looks like a combination of the dragon, a horse, and a dog. And I bring up the dog again because for those of you who don't know, I'm the one who found Olivia. And when I found Olivia and understood what that meant with the acrostic in the verse, I realized Olivia was a big deal, but I found Olivia 2 days before I realized there was an acrostic Olivia in the damn verse. I didn't even see it until I was talking LA with our group that we put together with the tribe. And I was talking with, I don't know, Caroline and Corey and Kirsten and everybody. And I said, oh my God, it spells Olivia. I didn't even realize it. And I had just been at the bench the day before. And then as I started talking to Evan Hoovler, he had told me about his group out in the Northwest, a bunch of people working together. And they said, oh, well, did you find Edwin? And when I was talking to him, I said, Edwin, what are you talking about? He said, it's the first letter of all the second words right in the middle of the verse. And I go, are you kidding me? He goes, well, no. I said, Edwin is on the bench right next to Olivia. All hell broke loose that day when we were talking. And I said, all right, so now we got our starting point. That's all we had talked about. But I think that horse head, dog head thing might have something to do with the Christensen Fountain, Hogan's Fountain dog, and Olivia on as far as the start of them trying to figure out where are we going to start. I think that's what I think it represents three different things. I'm not sure, but I just think it does.
3 just comes up like so often in this puzzle though, doesn't it? Like there's ABC, there's 1, 2, 3. We're talking about like, milestones across the park that are like super visual. It's.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
You know what?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Jim.
You know, on the park of the Cherokee Park map that this right there by what is that called? The pavilion. What is that? The overlook. The overlook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the Behringer
Right.
Overlook.
Yeah, Behringer Overlook. That area right there that's shaped like a horse on the map.
Yeah.
I wonder if that has something to do with it. We have the dragon, the horse, and the dog. The dog's at the bottom of the fountain.
Right.
Well, it's interesting too that those fountains were created
For
for
horses.
and
Yeah.
dogs, right? Yeah.
Yes, they were.
Yes.
Yeah, they were.
And that brings the Enid Yandel into everything because she created Daniel Boone. She created the Hogan's Fountain. And she also did a very important sculpture of Castleman. Now, if you remember, there's the statue of Castleman on his horse. His horse's name was Carolina, right outside the park. Enid did another huge statue that was very important of what is it, John B. Castleman out there. So she had 3 different pieces. She didn't do that one, but she did another one that was very important. So that as I looked at this sketch, I kept looking for things that might have to do with Enid. I didn't necessarily find them, but I was trying to find out what was in there that we could relate to and what was missing that we see today.
Well, what was a huge coincidence to me was right there at 7th and Main by the David statue. They ended up painting the Enid Yandel mural up there.
Yep.
It was way after the hunt, but when I first noticed it, I was like, wow.
So isn't that a nice connection, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is
I see the EY in both the sketch and the original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the 7, the big 7 on that branch right there below the Y that you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really weird shape. I noticed that also.
That is doesn't belong in a tree. Like it doesn't
No.
look natural.
no, it doesn't at all.
No.
There's a wire cut into the tree or almost,
Right.
you know. kind of grew
That
around
kinda-
it or something.
It kind of reminds me of that witch's tree in Louisville.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen that. I'm really interested too what all you guys think about the fact that there's 2 keys in this thing.
Yeah,
Isn't that
I
weird?
was
One of
wondering about
them
that
looks
as
like
well.
it's got a little smiley face next to it. It's probably
I
just
don't
a scribble.
know.
Doesn't that look
Are you
like a
talking?
small
Hey,
smiley face?
are you talking about the key, the lowest branch on the tree to the left?
Yeah.
No, that one.
Oh, that one. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
One of them's got like the round key top to it, and the one that specifically marked the key, I always felt like that little scribble was supposed to represent how the top of the original treasure keys looked.
Yeah.
Might
That's
be
the
looking
cast.
right
That
to
looks
you.
like the
I
cast
think
key.
you're right, Cam.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The key, like that's to me that
like
really
with the
caught
little
my eye.
like lion guy on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems to be the
Sunday, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I got more excited about seeing that little notation than anything else in the entire sketch because I was like,
when
the
I look,
key, we're not supposed to see that.
Yeah. That
So
and
when I
Kentucky
look
Cloud.
at
Yeah.
that,
The Kentucky Clouds, yeah.
is there any possibility that they got away from the key to, obviously it's hanging on a little string there coming down. I think one of the things I find really interesting is the branch, if you want to call it a branch that it's hanging
Yeah.
on, doesn't look like a branch to me.
No.
It looks like a sign holder that you would see on the side of a building.
Mm.
Now you gotta understand I've designed wrought iron sign holders before in my life. I'm probably way older than half you and then all you guys. And I've actually designed wrought iron sign holders and things like that for when I was back, 40 years ago when I first started doing this stuff. And what I really find like Sunday just said is when it says the key and it looks like it's supposed to be one of the older keys, it's almost hanging down like the same string in the same way that the pink tourmaline is hanging down in our finished product that we see today. What that means, I don't know, but the fact that there's 2 things hanging with keys, it blows my mind. I don't know what to make of them.
I love that
Are there
comparison.
2 or are there 3? Because what is that thing around his neck?
It looks
Originally,
like
I thought it was a key. It might not be when you
There's
zoom
an
in.
arrow
but-
pointing to it as well.
I don't know. I can't tell.
Yeah, I was going to ask what you all thought about
Yeah.
whatever that is.
Yeah.
There's an arrow pointing to it.
Yeah.
Oh, the arrows and the keys got me so excited.
So the
because-
arrows by the hand of the mannequin, I think they're like in a storyboard, you draw arrows showing where the motion's going. If the hand's pulling up, then the puppet's gonna
I
be
don't know.
moving up where it gets that weird pose.
I don't know, but look, he's
but-
already got so much dynamic motion in the picture, like in the sketch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sunday,
I thought
can you-
maybe
Can you zoom into that little guy? So the
The-
statue, the mannequin, or the whatever he is.
Oh, yeah,
Pan.
sort of.
That's Pan.
That's Pan.
I'm pretty
We'll call
sure
him
it's Pan.
Pan. But aren't some of us speculating that it's David, like the statue down in Louisville?
I mean,
Uh,
I'm not saying it's
Yeah,
not, but
there we go.
look at Pan next to that.
No,
I
no,
think
I
it's
think it's
Pan.
Pan. I definitely think it's Pan.
Well, look, if you guys haven't noticed this before, one of the things I noticed when Nick and Caroline pointed this out to me, when they were talking about this being Pan, and somebody else posted it on the Facebook page. Look at his right pec. The letter P is there. Pan. It's
Nice.
right. It's right there on his right pec. And then when somebody posted it, I was like, oh, okay. That would make sense. That would be Pan. And then, of course, the cattails off to the side. So that, again, back to my thoughts on what a way marker would be. But
Yeah.
I just think that's really cool that that letter P seems really clear to me when I highlighted it and I ran everything through my filters.
Nice. It keeps coming back to 3. I was going to say about the arrows. Like, I think the most boring, monotonous explanation is just that maybe he was telling himself that, hey, if this is going to be like in the final, let me get back over to like a full, like he's, hey, move the hand up towards the cloud some more. Like move, I don't know, make the string longer on this key, going along
Yeah.
with the arrows. But it almost, I mean, the treasure hunter in me wants to say, "Holy, is that the path?" You know what I mean? Is that like what we're supposed to follow? You know?
Yeah.
Are these keys like A, B, and C, or like it's important to find all the clues? Are these like the three big things that we have to figure out, kind of thing?
Well, I think you've got 5 arrows in the sketch. Oh nope, 6. I forgot about the cloud up there.
Ah,
Yeah, because there's one under the key pointing down. There's actually looks like there's one in the tree pointing southwest. I guess if you were to look at it that way.
Yeah.
Right behind the
there could
dragon
be,
head.
definitely.
Yeah, you know what? That same arrow you're talking about behind the dog head, dragon
It's
head
pointing
thing,
right at the key. Yeah.
if you turn the whole thing over 180 degrees, it looks like the number 71.
Huh?
If you look
Which
at
is
it
in the
closely,
hooves of the animal.
you'll see a 7 and a 1.
Where is it?
Interstate 71, right
Oh yeah.
just to the left. If you turn it
Whoa.
over to the left of the dog head thing in the tree,
You can
and
see the 7 really easy.
it's a 71.
Oh yeah, there is a line right after that 7.
Yeah, it's right next to it.
Same line that's making the arrow that Joe was talking about is that 1. Could be a 1, yeah.
And it could very easily be totally misinterpreted by me, but I saw it. I was like, as
pretty
soon as I
dark.
started looking at this, I was like, that looks like a 71. But,
So something else I'll go ahead and share is the fencing along the bottom.
Yeah.
There's only one place in the park that has that type of fencing, and that's over by Behringer Spring. It's like a L-shaped section of it where it has, I guess the 2 bars going across to make the square and then the rectangle underneath. So, I mean, that could be part of this early concept sketch.
right.
I don't know.
No,
But a lot of people, as we all know, there's a lot of elements over in that area too.
yeah,
So-
there is. And I tell you what, when I first saw this and I saw the wrought iron fence, I just
Mhm.
started smiling because it's like that wrought iron fence isn't there. Almost to say like what Sunday would say about Sunday would say, you're looking at certain things. That's not by accident.
Right.
Yeah.
And there is no fence we're dealing with. As this got developed, it became something else. But as this got moved on, this tells me that probably somewhere in the area, whether this is showing us that at the beginning over there at Behringer Spring where that wrought iron fence is. Now there's no post dividers like what is pictured in this thing there.
Right.
But this kind of tells me, and that's just my feeling, is there is a wrought iron fence somewhere nearby. And by nearby, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying 2 feet away you're going to find this thing, but in a park, in a section of the park, or somewhere in the area, there's got to be a wrought iron fence somewhere in that area, because this fence makes, to me personally, makes no sense at all. Why is it in here if it's not important?
Right.
So, and just like when I found Olivia and Edwin, and I got hook, line, and sinker, I just thought everything had to do with Behringer Spring, not understanding way markers and things like that. And I got to the point where I realized, wait a minute, I think this is where JM wanted us to start. And the only reason I bring that up is because, like, as I look at this sketch and they're trying to figure out where are we going to start, we know where we're going to end, but there is no high gold. There is no bunch of other clues that aren't in there. But if he wanted us to start somewhere or end somewhere, there might be a wrought iron fence close by. Now, obviously, Behringer Spring had one of a man of adventure, which would be Daniel Boone, but Daniel Boone's not in here, and that's definitely not Daniel Boone's face when you look at the entire thing. And that could just be a representation for us. But as Kit was trying to feel out what area he wanted to go in with JM, and they started doing these developmental sketches, I just think I think he threw that fence in there. He didn't just kind of throw it in there for the hell of it. He threw it in there because there's a wrought iron fence somewhere near what we're looking for.
How many of you guys are artists? Like I've been singling out Rich. Okay, so a lot. I think a lot. So let's go down the road. Like, what do you guys think about these arrows? Like, why would an artist put these arrows in a preliminary sketch? Would it be, hey, raise the hand up closer to the cloud, or is it the treasure hunt, aspect of like, hey, I'm trying to keep all this straight in my mind, and we're building a path to the treasure.
Yeah, I mean, I would do it, to note specific objects in the painting and then to show motion.
Yeah.
If it was a painting, I'd probably paint over that. But
Okay.
that's just me. And I've only done a few paintings, and I've done a lot of storyboard work for kind of film stuff.
So maybe they come first, then you're roughing in some stuff. The arrows go in to show you where you want to add the motion, the directions of the motion, is what you're saying, Cam?
Yeah, right. That's how I would do it. I'm not saying that's how
Sure.
these.
Yeah, no, we're all
are,
speculating. Yeah.
So
I don't want to dominate what's going on here because I feel like I keep talking too much. But when I do this stuff, and I used to do a lot of work for Philip Morris in Louisville, the Presbyterian Church USA, and we used to have to do developmental sketches.
Yeah.
I would do arrows to move things to tell them, well, we can have it here, or we can move it here. You want me to move this up? Do you want me to? Is this a key element you want? And that, again, back to the word key, because of the key where it actually has a key and an arrow point to it. Some of it, I think some of that is we need these pieces, and other ones are, hey, do you want us to move this hand up here towards the cloud? Do you want me to bring this leg up? Do you want? I don't know. That when I would ever put arrows in a drawing, it was just to kind of show a client, do you want me to do this? I'll do that. But maybe that was Kit's notes to JM. I have no idea.
That's what I took it to mean, is that there was some kind of notation.
Yeah. Y'all just crush your girls' dreams. Just go ahead. No, I'm just kidding.
Does anyone think it's significant that the key and the cloud are the only things labeled?
The start and the end, right? Like the key. I think that's gotta be the key. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, just going back on my initial thoughts
or the tree or the whatever. It's just the key and the cloud.
Yeah.
Well, we have the cloud says KY. That could be state, and then the key could have something to do with the city.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it says KY cloud at the top.
Well, I mean, that's definitely the shape of the state.
Yeah.
I mean, if the key is significant, I have no idea what it would be. But if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do state and city. I mean, I'm gonna break it down: state, city, and then dig spot, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting that KY. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, in the image, we have what I think is the baseball bat and a robe. So that would be Louisville for, Louisville Slugger. And then right here underneath the hand, we have, it looks like the little knob of a bat.
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah.
Where
the top digit of the ring finger is. Yeah.
No, it looks like part of a bat. That's funny.
Yeah, it looks like the knob, So it looks to me that would be a representation of Louisville, the Louisville Slugger.
Yeah, and your eye really goes right there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi,
Ashley.
Hi. Always late.
No.
I was just gonna say it's interesting that it says the KY by the cloud, and then the E is in the tree above the key. So like really, it spells key.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if, as we kind of find Enid Yandel, and when you're looking at EY and all that stuff, was this an early representation as far as that E goes of, was that supposed to mean Edwin as well as Enid? And then you have the dog horse head thing that could have been Olivia, because that was the benches are made of wood except for the metal parts. So you've got a dog in the wood and you got an E in the wood.
Nice.
And they were really close to each other. So one of the thoughts I had was, is that one of the early developmental processes of them trying to figure out, all right, how do we put Olivia and Edwin on this thing so we can find a starting point? Again, that's just my thought, is that's the starting point of the puzzle, not the end of it. So the E could be Enid and it could be Edwin at the same time, as if you have the if you have Olivia. And for those who never really knew, I still to this day, this many years later, talk to people who don't realize Olivia is a dog.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you guys. Do you think this sketch was made before or after the current verse?
I think this is one of probably
Mm.
a few sketches.
Oh,
Because
wait.
that changes things a bit.
It's
I know the answer to that.
You know the answer. What's
Yes.
the answer?
Because George said, he said on like some podcast sometime that he said the verse changed right before it went out.
Yes.
Wow. So
What?
Yeah.
this would have been before the current verse. Interesting. I wonder if we'll ever get to see that old verse. I'm sure
Yeah,
maybe one day if this gets
Wait, I
solved.
When
thought
it's
but-
solved. Yeah.
I thought the old verse was for the one that they figured out very quickly.
Yeah.
Could be.
That is probably accurate. That's probably why they changed it.
Yeah. No way to know really, but I think that, yeah, I mean, I do remember George saying the verse changed right before it went out. That's like part of, so I don't know if they had the new spot, like Leanne was saying, like maybe it was
Wow.
just a matter of moving over to the next landmark down the road, you know, like whatever was down the path or whatnot. But yeah, so the verse changed right before it came out.
Wow.
Yeah, the
Okay.
final part of the verse did. Now, let me just throw this out there. I know I keep dominating conversation here.
No, you're not.
I know.
Hanging out.
I know from various things I've heard or the people I've talked to since this got released. They did a test. George and a couple other people were supposed to test this out for JM to find out if it was too easy. Did they give too many clues? Did they do this? Did they do that? Now, I don't know the details of how this worked out. But when LA brought this up, as far as them testing it out, them going to feel it out, the verse was slightly different. They wanted to see what George and two other guys were trying to look at to see if they could figure out how quickly they could find this location. From what I understand, and I could be completely wrong, but I'm not completely wrong. I'm at least partially wrong. They were testing this out because JM wanted them to test out, see if they could figure out all these clues and where to go. But from what I understand, they were trying to find, he was wanting them to find part of the puzzle, not the final part of the puzzle.
Yeah.
So if, let's say you have A, B, and C, which we've already discussed, maybe they only found their way to B and they thought that was the final part of the puzzle.
Right.
As I understand it, they didn't find the final part of the puzzle. They found the midway part of the puzzle. But at the time, they thought they were finding the final part of the puzzle.
Really?
And then the other
I
clues got
think-
added and the other verse got added.
Yeah. So I mean, the story. Well,
What do you know, Cam?
I only. It mainly has to do with a story I heard on a podcast a while ago pertaining to the actual burial of the cask.
Yeah.
Where it was only buried. It was Kit and JM buried it together.
Yes.
And then they released the puzzle after they buried it. So wouldn't it have been in the same place even before they changed the verse? If the verse was changed before they released the puzzle, because they would have
Hmm.
buried it beforehand.
No,
That's a good point.
my understanding was that the test was done well over a year in advance. Now, maybe George, since he was a part of that, could add
So
more
they're
information.
thinking about where they're going to bury the puzzle.
Yeah. So
That makes
maybe George could add more to that. I mean, I had the joy of meeting George this past year and Rachel party up in New Jersey. I met Caroline and Nick for the first time in 4 years face to face. Just had an absolute ball with them. They're just genuinely great people. And maybe they could add more to it, and then maybe George wouldn't want to because he don't want to say anything, and that's totally respectable. But my understanding is that was the test was way before the actual burial of the cask.
That makes sense.
I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's right too.
Very cool history.
Did you guys say you know what the E is coming off the left side of the tree? Because I think I know what the street names those are.
It's a weird
Nice.
structure. It's not, two of those look like they could be branches on the tree, but the middle prong's definitely not it's a branch of the tree, so it's got to be some sort of symbol, right? That's got to mean something.
I'm going to say it's Everett Street, and the one below it's Bonnie Castle, and the one above that is Sherwood.
Oh yeah, those streets are right there.
And see how they're the kind of a
And
function,
they're
how
the same
the
shape.
top and bottom, yeah, they're same shape. I'm looking at an older map.
Oh, I got you.
It's the what is this thing? It's the private land tracts that became Cherokee Park in 1893.
Oh yeah, those black and whites. Those are cool maps.
Yeah, and it's the exact same shape, and then that would make the side of the edge of the paper, or if you're looking at the painting that was released, the color one, that would make that long branch Edgewood. Or I'm sorry, Bardstown Road, but also Edgewood. It depends if you're looking at the current map, or I guess a present day map, or the historical map.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But then that would feed right into the park or the edge of it. And then you could figure out the other roads if you get that E, those 3 roads in the place.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I
It
see that.
lines up.
I so wanted it to be Dingle, like there's that Dingle Road down there that's one of the Fairhope, and then it ends with Viva Fairhope. And I just I really wanted it to be Dingle so bad because it was like a valley and everything.
Yeah, Dingle was pretty good in the beginning. Now
We
we got
all-
we got to remember that JM said that something from connects back to the book The Secret. So something that you read inside The Secret will help you out with the puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all were sold on Dingle for a while.
Yeah. So, what do we think is so hard about narrowing? I mean, okay, I guess I'll just speak for myself, but I worked on this puzzle or this hunt really hard, originally for a live stream that I did with Gabby, which was the first one, and it was so fun. And it was really good, except for our Wi-Fi was really bad, so we couldn't hear each other and stuff like that. But we had so many good plans and so much good stuff. And then I worked with Jimmy, which I'm who knows, the park better, and so it's but do you guys also feel like it's so hard to figure out? I mean, of course, it's obviously hard to figure out the end spot, but it's so hard to figure out what it's saying is the end spot.
Yeah, I agree with that. There are 2 options because you have that line, it's down below, which tells you, okay, it's the cask is down below, right? But then you have an emblem of B, it's down below, Valkyrie's window with 7. So it's doesn't tell you where you're supposed to look down below. If it's supposed to be an emblem of B, it's down below. or if it's down below Valkyrie's window with 7.
Or it's both.
It's really tough.
Yeah.
Or it could be both. It could be the same object. Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
And it's got to be one of those two things, because then you go into, it's important to find all clues. Yeah, there we go. It's important to find all clues learned now from methods past, 1 cask. And then you get 2 circles, 3, Dragon of the Sea.
Yeah.
And then that's, pretty much it. And well, I can go out and basically, I'm going to, my theory's always been with Scenic Loop. I went out this summer. It was an incredible trip to go visit Louisville. I've got family out there, and seeing all the sights and all of these clues in the painting is always so exciting. We didn't find anything. We just went to, check out some of these spots. It was so cool, but it does, with that theory, you go around, see all these clues in the painting, but it trails off. It's weird. It's like if, Scenic Loop, boons at the beginning and end. So you start on the Scenic Loop, crossed 4 spans. I always took to be crossed 4 bridges. After the 4th bridge, you're right there at Christensen Fountain, which is what I see as 2 circles, 3, Dragon of the Sea. So there's stuff in the middle, but once you cross that 4th bridge, you're already right there. And so, my theory's probably not correct, but I've always felt like it's got to be somewhere on that scenic loop.
Does anyone know the length of the actual loop?
Like
miles?
Oh God.
I think it's supposed to be
It's
2.3.
It's 2.3.
Jimmy, you know?
2.3.
Oh, it's 2.3.
So I think 2 circles 3 might be a double meaning there. That you're definitely on the loop for this.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I want to ask a question real quick. There was a couple of people that have absolutely worked their asses off on this puzzle.
Mhm.
And one of them was somebody who got in a car with her mom and drove all the way from Virginia just to go check some things out at Behringer Spring.
I did.
LA,
Yes, sir.
what is your story to this day? Because, honey, you put in some time. I mean, you and your mom rolling around. What are you thinking today? I mean, I know you probably don't look at this puzzle all the time, but what are you thinking?
We made the trip twice. My thoughts are that the puzzle is the verse. There's something going on in the verse, like a puzzle.
Yeah.
We haven't figured out.
I totally agree. And
It's
JM,
starting off.
puzzle guy.
and JM did believe in the path. So it goes down to Valkyrie's window is 7. It's important to find all clues, learn now from methods past, 1 cast. That there is a break there in the flow of the puzzle.
Yes.
And it's telling us right then and there that we have to adjust somehow. I don't think 2 circles 3, Dragon of the Sea, necessarily means the Christensen, because we've got a picture of the Christensen.
Too obvious, right?
It's too obvious that he's going to put that big long line in there to describe Christensen. I think we almost have to do something. We haven't figured out the ABC. I'm not talking about tough geometry, but there's something in there that is somewhat of a puzzle that we should be able to pick up. And whether it's just looking at it visually, that's what I think we're missing. I think, and we get that by going back to, if we all remember that Boston was not found when this puzzle came out. So really,
So it's just the 2.
yeah, really Chicago and Cleveland's, you've got to somehow grab from there.
Mm-hmm.
And pull it into this puzzle. And also I wanted to say, with the new sketch, there was no picture anywhere that I saw of the bench, which were also the bench. And the benches are very important, obviously, because of Marston Hill and Olivia and Edwin.
Right.
That needs to be figured out, because I don't know if people really keep that. If we're taking our paths, through the park. How the hell do you fit that stuff in? They're not in the same part of the park.
Right.
So that's where I think we're failing. To me, I still think that it's probably I want to say the Big Rock area. But there's no Big Rock in this sketch, which was kind of strange to me. But again, that could be a different location. But Rich, when you're asking my opinion as to where I'm at, I'm still at Big Rock. And I think there's a little bit of a puzzle there. It's not going to be super complex, but it's just something that we're just probably, and I'm trying, and I did so much work. There's something that I'm trying to remember with that triangle that I thought I figured out. I can't think of it right now, but there's something in the layout there that I think we're missing.
All right. Well, jump back in if you figure that out. And I just want to ask one more question, because then we get back to the hardest working man on this puzzle.
Jimmy,
you know I'm talking about you. The double drill man walking all around the park, aerating every damn inch of that park.
So fast.
What are your thoughts, Jimbo? What are they?
I don't know. I mean, we've done a lot of work on it. I think back in 2021, I probably went to the park every month for at least 3 to 4 days at a time.
Yeah, you did.
And I mean, we put in so much work. We've been in so many spots. We've put in a lot of work, and we come up empty. So I don't know exactly where it's at, but I mean, I put in my fair share of searching, that's for sure. I see over here that Tim O asks, anyone seen the swing set in the sketch? I've never seen the swing set. Where's that at?
Tell us, Tim.
He might have stepped away. Let's see.
Picture, yeah.
Sorry. Okay, let's see.
I didn't see that. Okay.
I actually had a thought about a swing set because everybody was talking about the arrows in the sketch, and the figure I believe is the shape of Pan. So we're showing motion at Pan, so we're showing swing. We're showing swing at Pan, so like maybe near the swing set near the Pan statue.
Nice.
Right. Yeah.
Something like that. I mean, and with Tim saying, does anybody seen the swing set? Where's the swing set?
Well, there is a little small playground area, right? Up by.
Yeah, there's a playground.
Northern area.
Right. Where's the?
Two.
Right where,
there's one at Hogan and there's one at Big Rock, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
At the very least.
I played on that one at Big Rock since I was 6 years old.
Yeah,
oh,
I've
really?
been out there quite a bit.
But the one by the teepee, I understand there was a little bit of damage to it when they decided to take that damn thing down, which pisses me off to no end.
Yeah.
I wish they had the funds to.
Yeah, it's a real cool area where they do have swings over there.
Another thing I noticed that in the verse we have ABC 1, 2, 3, and then right there in that little play set, it had like the for the little kids to play with, the little numbers and the letters that you could like spin around.
Spin wheels, yeah.
Yeah, and it has the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s.
Yeah, I went and checked that out for somebody.
I checked out. So a couple people would message me when I would be at the park, and I would go and check out various stuff.
Yeah, somebody brought that up to me and said, "Rich, could you check it out next time you're down there?" So I'll be happy to. I've been all through that park. In fact, if there's anybody here that's listening and wants information on a certain spot and they want to check it out, message me. I'm happy to tell you what I know. I'm not worried about whether I find this or not. I'm happy to help anybody who wants to figure it out.
Same.
And I'll do whatever I can so you guys aren't traveling everywhere to do shit. I have to be in Louisville once a week because my parents are down there. I live in Cincinnati right now, but I'm happy to go and check for anybody that wants to see something. In fact, I've probably already checked all these different areas where I get people contacting me all the time and they're asking me about benches and certain things. And it's really funny. It's like, oh, yeah, I was there 3 years ago, 2021. Here's what I figured out. In 2020, I did this. Oh, that didn't work. But if you have something else,
Yeah, I've checked a few places for some folks too. Hey, Corey had a question. Can you probe or dig in the park? Of course you can. Just
I can.
Yeah.
don't get caught.
I do it all the time.
No,
Yeah.
I used to probe and dig all the time.
Dig a lot
No,
of places.
All they can do
No,
is
no.
ask you to leave, but they probably won't. So
Well, you can run into some situations, Joe, and
Yeah.
I've run into
I've run
some-
into a couple.
yeah, and the first time I met Corey Child, Kirsten, and a couple of their friends, we met one day on a Sunday night because that's the only time I was off. I was still running my business. We went down to Behringer Spring, and it started raining like hell. But we were just probing around everything, trying to line up the Murdoch fountain. We were looking at the benches. We were doing all this shit. We all had probes. We were all over the place, and the storm finally stopped, and people started walking their dogs again in the park. And it was really funny because this one old lady who looked like she had been a professor at some school for her whole life comes walking up to us with her dog. She goes, "What are y'all doing?" I said, "Oh, we're just probing for soil." And she goes, "What?" I said, "Oh, we're testing the soil samples at the end of the drip line." She goes, "What are you talking about?" She goes, I'm a university professor over at Sullivan College over here,
Oh gosh.
and I live over here." And she goes, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, on the drip lines, you get in here and you have the green dragon weeds, and I just started going off. I have Corey, Kirsten, and their friends looking at me like, what kind of bullshit is this guy spreading?" And I said, "But what we're doing soil samples to try to test the calcium carbonate that comes off of this trail and this trail to make sure it's not affecting any of the natural plant life." She just backed up. She goes, "Well, that is fantastic."
Yeah.
And she just suddenly loved us. But
That's
I mean,
great.
we had tore the hell out of that place trying to figure out where the hell the cast was. And obviously we didn't find it, but sometimes you just got to come up with a story.
It was a good story.
Oh yeah,
It worked.
that's not the first time Rich came up with that one. The first time that I met Rich, we had
You were
a
with me on the other one.
mini meetup. Rich came up with the same kind of thing. We were probing in Fort Nelson Park, right across from the David statue on 7th and Main.
Yeah.
And some woman was there watching us, and we had a few members from the group, as Lisa Finch from England.
Yeah.
She was living in Florida at the time. We had Carlene Matern. She's one of the admins from the New York page, I believe.
Yeah.
Who else was there? We had Jimmy Van Erden, Rich, myself.
Yeah, he was there.
And then some woman was there watching us. We were probing around, looking all around, and she ended up calling the police on us. And everybody got out of there unscathed except for Rich. The police come up and grabbed Rich and said, "Hey, what's going on, bud?" And he pulled out the same thing, like he was searching for the University of Louisville, searching for the calcium carbonate in the soil from the floods that just came through.
Yeah. Yeah, I made up a story about how I was with the University of Louisville and we were testing soil samples up against the flood wall there because we know that calcium carbonate that gets in the soil will not support certain forms of life as far as bushes and things. And we were wanting to do a new project where we were going to build bushes and trees against this so it wasn't looking so damn ugly. And so we were doing just simple soil samples and getting those ready for our university classes. And the cop looked at me and goes, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay, well, you have a good day." And he took off.
Uh,
But I just made up bullshit, and he went for it and left us alone. But yeah,
Oh,
like
man.
you were saying, this one lady was out there having a smoke, and she sees us out there probing I say we. Jimmy had 2-fisted drills going, and then he popped a PVC pipe down in the hole, and they were looking, and she was looking like, "What the hell are these guys doing? They're not official." And next thing we know, it wasn't even 15 minutes later, the cops were there, and it was. But I handled it. We got out of it.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Carlene was probing around with the T-handle probe.
Yep. That was fun.
Yeah, it sure was. We went into that place that Leanne likes and had a couple drinks.
The Muscle and Burger Bar.
Yeah,
I
that
love that
muscle
place.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good
You know
place.
Hey, Leanne, do you know what's right? You know what's right there in that bar across the street from right there next to David?
No.
The statue of Pan.
Is there?
Yeah. There's
That's
there's,
weird.
There's a statue of Pan on the counter as you go into 21C. The hotel's called 21C.
That's interesting.
21st century. Yeah. As soon as you walk in, it smacks you in the face. It's like Pan's reaching out to grab you.
I do think that the head and the tail of the message need to be brought together. I mean, that was in the lore. There's something going on with Pan that we need to figure out along with Christensen, because they're right there looking at each other on the lore page and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Why is Pan hanging from somebody's finger in this sketch?
Good question.
Yeah.
Something else I wanted to run by everybody.
Yeah.
I noticed in some of the live streams and podcasts that Kit and JM have said several that certain imagery, people are falling for it. So to me, there's, like you were saying earlier, there's a lot going on in the sketch and a lot going on in the actual painting,
Right.
the image. So some of that may be not necessarily red herring, but just to kind of distract from the actual
Has
puzzle that
anybody-
we still need to solve.
Yeah.
Has anybody noticed anything in the park with the significance of like the year 2000? Because I was looking more at the 2 circles 3 Dragon of the Sea. And if you have a 2 and then add 3 circles to it, it's the year 2000, which is the year of the dragon in the Chinese zodiac.
Well, yeah.
Yes. I do.
Or 2003, yeah.
I do think there was a bench for the Jewish Federation planting trees, and there is a 2000. I think it's down right before you get to the bridge, Bernheim Bridge. There is a little bench you should check out if you want to consider that. Or I think we took pictures, and I think it's on the page.
Yeah.
And I think we put that up there.
Yeah, I recall the one you're talking about.
Yeah, I think we were considering that for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, way back when I first looked at everything, and I was dead set on Behringer Spring because of the Murdoch Fountain and Daniel Boone and all that. Obviously, that's where I found Olivia and Edwin.
Yeah.
But at the on the lower terrace down there, there's an upper terrace. You got a lower terrace.
Mm-hmm.
There's a rock down there with a plaque on it from the Glenview Club or the Glenview something that was placed there in 2003. And that's when I first thought, oh, that's the 2 circles 3. I don't think it is now, but it's there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple dates, like the benches, the World's Fair benches, whatever they're called. They have like dates. I believe the Edwin bench has the date 2000 on it.
Oh, really?
Oh, it's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, it does. Yeah. I didn't even think about that. Good call, Jim. Yeah, that's right. It does.
And then,
I'm sorry.
And then that third bench right there that says like what's your
Mimi.
name? Like Mimi Zinnial. She got the same like Zinn, like Brian Zinn.
Yeah.
So I was thinking for a while maybe JM was like, this is same name as my buddy Brian Zinn, and let's hide it here near this third bench.
Yeah, Mimi Zennial was the president, I believe, before Edwin Perry, which I thought was interesting. But I know who she is because the entire city wanted to kill her.
Yeah, she was just in the news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mimi Zennial was the first person that wanted to take down the teepee at Hogan's Fountain.
Yeah.
And if anybody's ever talked to me about them taking down the damn witch's hat teepee, whatever the hell you want to call it, you'll understand how important it was to the city because it's the only thing to survive that damn tornado.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she just suddenly decided, we're going to tear it down. We're not going to put any more money into it. And then some local Louisville businessmen came in there and put the money up to reshingle it, fix it, do whatever. And then now, what was it? 6 months ago or whatever, somebody put some order into, hey, we got to get rid of this, and they just took it down one day. The city went crazy when they tore that thing down, and that hasn't been on, it's on local news, but it hadn't been on national news or anything like that. But the city went crazy. They hate her, and they hate the people who finally got it taken down, and now they're going, what are we going to do with this? I don't know. We could put some picnic tables over. Everybody is pissed. I mean, that was a symbol of just success of people living through that damn tornado, which I was one of those people. I was 8 years old.
It was iconic. It was cool looking. It was its own thing. I mean,
we drove
a lot of memories there.
My dad drove us through there about a week after the tornado because you couldn't go through. Everything was down. The whole park was level. He drove us through there, and he took us up to that just so we could see that survived. Everything else, if it wasn't a statue on a bunch of rocks like Daniel Boone, everything else was gone. It was crazy.
I wanted to mention that it looks like Sunday lost her internet connection or something like that. And I don't recall if we talked about the face while we were live. Did we?
I think at the very beginning it was brought up a little, but
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything else? I mean, everybody give me a good guess on who you think the face is. It's very nondescript. Something that bothers me about that is how could you possibly pin it on someone? But
Jimmy knows who I think it is.
I think it's Castleman, but
who?
It could be Castleman.
Castleman, it could be. He's probably the only one with the mustache.
All right, I'll vote for that.
I think it looks like the Maitre Demon.
Ooh. And I said,
and JM did an interview.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's a good point.
I've looked at pictures of every. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I've looked at pictures of everybody. I know who it's not. I know it's not King Louis. I know it's not Daniel Boone. It's not none of them people. So I mean, with that prominent mustache, it's got to be like a Teddy Roosevelt character, something like that.
Yeah. I think someone said Colonel Sanders at one point. I'm like, he had more of a goatee thing going.
Yeah.
It could be Castleman.
It could be.
It could be a few different people, but
you never know.
The details.
JM did a Christmas interview with the Maitre Demon. Do you guys remember that during the 20th Christmas special?
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
And he talked about the front of the house and the back of the house. And in an actual tribute painting, we have the back of the Heigold house and not the front of it. And there's a whole bunch of like opposites that he talked about in the interview that the Matron Demon like does. And I just found it interesting because the verse says your way has a twin.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that there's more to that interview. I don't think it was just supposed to be cute. I think it was a thing.
Right. I think it was a really big clue is what I think it was.
I do too.
It looks like his ear is in her back. You ever noticed an ear in her back? That bothers me.
An ear and are you talking about the?
It almost looks like a flower or an ear coming off the shoulder.
Right.
I guess we can't change the photos because Sunday isn't here.
Right.
Yeah.
Even the figure itself looks like a male and a female. It's like it's almost like yin yang through.
Yeah. I want to throw something at you all for fun here. I did this to Jimmy 2 years ago. I'm going to do it to all of you right now. The interview with the Maitre Demon, like you just said, there had to be more to it.
Right.
It wasn't just fun. I mean, it was fun, but JM is, a lot of people that don't understand JM, and God knows I never understood him, but the man was a freaking genius when it came to some shit with these clues. Now I'm gonna throw this out there. You can just toss it out and say, Rich, you're out of your mind. We don't care. When he brought up the Maitre Demon and interviewed him about all this different stuff. You know, it's like a 3-minute interview. As he started talking about baseball, did anybody notice that?
Yeah.
And right at the end, you know, he was talking about a game that happened in 2003.
Yep.
Between who? Did anybody remember?
Yankees.
Yeah.
Um.
And the Red Sox.
Okay.
Now, this is in 2003. That's a pretty long time ago. Why would he bring up a game between the Yankees and the Red Sox when, number one, JM was no fan of either team? And he brought up the game and which game it was in the 2003 ALCS.
Shit, Rich, I took notes on this, and I think I know where you're going with it. I can't remember.
Well, I'm going to tell you.
Tell me.
He brought this up, and when I tell people this, they look at me like, what? No, bullshit. There have been 90,000 baseball games since he brought it up and since that game was played. Why would he bring up a game that had 90,000 baseball games in between it in the Major League Baseball? Well, so if you go back and look at whatever game that was, I think it was Game 3 of the 2003 ALCS. That was the game where one of the fans jumped into the bullpen and got in a fight with one of the pitchers from the Yankees. Anybody remember that?
No.
Now, me, I'm a baseball guy, so Jimmy knows this. He gave me a damn White Sox bat, and I just cherish that thing. It's up on my wall. I'd go up and get it. And the big hurt. Give me a But there was a fight between one of the Yankees pitchers. His name was Jeff Nelson, and a couple of fans in the Red Sox. One of the fans jumped down to the bullpen and started fighting him. Why do you think JM would bring up that game? And not that I have the answer. I know why I think he brought up the game, but why do you think he brought up the game? 90,000 baseball games between then and when he brought that up. Why would he bring up that game? He doesn't like the Yankees. He doesn't like the Red Sox, but he brought it up for a reason. He was trying to give us a clue.
What was it?
Nelson. Jeff Nelson was the pitcher who they got in a fight with. He was trying to tell us in a very nice, calm way in the background that the final spot is in Fort Nelson Park.
Wow.
That was my first theory. I love Fort Nelson Park.
Yeah.
Where's Fort Nelson Park?
That's right across the street from David.
7th and Main. Now, have you guys paid any attention to? I know you have, LA, because you and I talked about this years ago. But all the clues that JM would put on his Facebook page, hints, he kept putting those pictures up.
Yes.
And he kept putting baseball pictures up, or hints of baseball, or hints of Normandy.
I remember the baseball pictures.
Yeah, of what was the guy's name? Kenny fucking Powers in that movie. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, that Eastbound and Down.
Yeah. And then one time he brought up what was the
Raleigh Fingers.
Yeah, he brought Raleigh Fingers on there.
Yeah, I remember he had a couple thing about fingers.
And he posted and I didn't get this until months later. He put again, Joe, everybody else watches. I could be dead wrong, but he posted a YouTube video of the video where YouTube was in LA and they played that song, "The Streets Have No Name." And I went, why would he post this up? This doesn't make sense. He just put it on. He didn't say anything, but he just put it on his site. And I went and looked it up. And you know where that video was shot in LA?
Where?
Or I should say LA. Do you know where that was shot in LA?
LA does not know.
It was shot on 7th and Main in Los Angeles.
Wow.
So when I go, Jimmy knows me. Jimmy knows me. I go deep into shit, and people are like, "You're nuts, Rich." They don't care. And every now and then, Jimmy goes, "That might mean something."
We did come up with a lot of clues from the original puzzles, like the aces high with the wall and all that. You know, there was a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah. So it's
And
just a
Enid
matter.
Yandel's Hometown Heroes banner is on that building right next to it.
Mhm.
Right. And what's important about that Enid Yandel banner being up there on the building, the
Athena.
Louisville leadership? It's pretty simply for me. I know I'm dominating this conversation. I hate it, but
No, you're good.
That's fine.
I just like having somebody to talk to about this. My wife hates me talking about it.
Yeah.
But you know, when you go back to the park and you're thinking about Daniel Boone and the Hogan's Fountain and the other Castleman thing that she did, Enid Yandel was a huge part of history. What did JM know was going to happen after he buried the treasure cask? He knew, because I knew when I saw the words going up. They send out this information to let you know when the next banner is going to go up somewhere with somebody famous from Louisville. He already knew when they buried it that the Enid Yandel banner was going to go up on that top wall over there above Fort Nelson Park. He already knew that. So isn't that kind of a cool tie-in from the Enid stuff in the park to the Enid stuff at Fort Nelson Park?
Yes, that's pretty cool.
That is very cool. I've never looked at that area, so that's interesting. I'll take a look.
And then before you leave, just remember the one thing Kit said when we asked him about, when everybody was asking him a couple years ago about is the cask underwater, and Kit started laughing, and JM was just what?
Said it could be.
And what did Kit say?
Certain
It's like-
offense would to have
Yeah,
occurred.
under the right circumstances,
Yeah, he
Yeah.
said it would take
certain things take place.
it would take an event for that to flood. Now, just so you all know this, the flood wall on up against the park at the top, that's the 1937 flood level.
Yep.
Which the Great Flood, right? Joe
Yes.
knows what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And it would take, he said it would take, he was laughing. He goes, it would take an event for that. Well, we're only 3 years away from the next event where that water is going to come over the top of that wall.
And isn't that section B of the flood walls? I believe it is.
Yeah, it's Section B, M62, M61, and M60.
Yeah,
down there.
emblem of B. The
Yeah.
emblem of B.
So
And then
that was one of the
Athena
things. Yeah. That was one of the things I looked at years
is the
ago.
Valkyrie.
Well, the Valkyrie could be a few different things, but when you say with 7, my personal opinion, just so you all
Could be
know,
7th Street.
with 7 is 7th Street.
Yeah.
And then right there inside Fort Nelson Park, it's got the letters right there. It says Riverwalk. You could it's an anagram for Valkyrie.
Yeah.
I guess it's like you can pretty much spell out. I think you're missing one letter.
Yeah.
That was
And
pretty good.
if anybody knows JM, he doesn't care about missing a letter or adding a letter.
Yeah.
He even says that in the interview that he did when he was talking about his solve for San Francisco. He goes, you don't have to use every letter. Like, what the hell?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So when I saw that again, I was like, damn, I don't have to try to be perfect with every single letter and shit because he doesn't care about that.
So, but you said you've probed all around that park, though, right?
No.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
It's a very difficult area because
It's right there on that corner, isn't it? With the
of constant construction. And every now and then when they're doing construction in the area, Joe, whether it's the buildings on the 6th Street side, the 7th Street side, or whatever, they'll bring these big dumpsters and shit and sit
and just lay it right there.
in the lower terrace, or they'll let all these cars and trucks park there. And they've, unfortunately, they've taken and put a lot of gravel and shit in the middle of the park just so everything would come in and they can take care of it. So,
Hey, welcome back.
What have you been doing?
frantically trying to get the internet out.
You're
My
watching
internet's
TV.
just like,
You were
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna leave. And I'm like,
well, you got here just in time. We're getting ready to leave. Great to see you. So long, son. Take it easy.
no, I've been listening to you guys and it's very interesting, I will say.
What?
good
Damn,
stuff.
I thought it was just us 4.
Well, I was listening on YouTube.
Oh,
So
Wow. Okay.
Well, Rich, next time you come down to see your folks, hit me up and we can go visit Nelson if you want.
I'd love to.
yeah,
I
I'd like to take a look at Nelson. I'm diehard Cherokee Park, but I would
Yeah,
like
I'm
to.
still in the Cherokee Park camp.
But I want to take a look at what he's talking about.
Rich, you didn't shake down Nelson Park for me way back when I asked you to years ago.
Hold on. Who's talking? I don't see a face.
it's
It's
Evie.
Eve.
Oh, hey, Evie. Yeah. When you and I talked, it's been a couple of years, right?
Yeah, well, you know, kids, college, relocation by Dow, floods, cats, all that good stuff.
Hey, where do you live? You want to come in and check this place out, me and Jeff, and then we'll have Jimmy come down? I don't want Leanne to have to drive 12 hours again.
It's a far way.
I'm in the
George is back.
I am literally in the middle of Michigan. You hold up your hand and you stick your finger into like the middle, coming in from the thumb. Oh yeah, well that's how I feel. But yeah, I'm in the middle. I don't know how long of a drive it would be. Somebody who can do better math than me would figure it out.
What is that? Is that Ann Arbor?
You're 5.5 to 6 hours from there, Evie.
Oh my goodness. I'm like 8, 9.
Yeah.
And now
Hey,
we've got
it
the
is
snow
George.
started. Hey,
I was
George.
worried. We posted the link, so I was like, is it someone who just typed in George? Or is it
No,
George?
no, it's me.
Whoever says George.
Well,
when
whenever
he-
somebody sends me a link to a live stream, I'm like a live stream whore, man. I just jump in.
Such a slut, George.
Yeah. Hey, George, Tim and I
God.
want to see you do a shot.
What?
You
Seriously,
have 3
it's like
choices of
bring
shots.
George on and make him drink alcohol. Okay.
You came on all by yourself.
You're playing catch up at this point.
Tim and I want to get a return on our investment.
Evie,
Yeah.
Evie, I've been searching various parts for years, and right after you contacted me and we started talking,
Mhm.
I had been in that area for about a year and a half. So
That's
believe me when I
so
say I've been
That works.
searching and looking and trying to figure out where the spot
Salute.
was. And the one thing that keeps coming
Salute.
back to me, is the comment that Kit made in the children's interview on Mysterious Writings or whatever. He said, I hope everybody finds the park in the area, but they cannot find the spot for years to come. And that's where I am.
Cool.
Can
Well,
I
I
ask a
still
question?
appreciate it. And your
for
hot
both of
sauce.
you guys?
Yes, please.
I don't know. You might have already touched on this. I don't know. So when I was with Kit, like that sketch was a really big surprise to me.
Yeah.
And we were during that we were sort of looking over he's got like a tribute folder with a bunch of sketches and stuff. He was talking about, we were looking at the painting, and he was talking about how like he thought he did it too quickly and he didn't put much time into it, and he talked about wanting to make another, and he's talked about that before.
Right.
I'm curious how you guys feel about that. Like, is that it how do you feel about a completely new painting being made with the same clues but without John involved?
Sure.
I feel like because it's John's puzzle. Because even from what Kit says, right? Like he worked with John on it, but it's not his puzzle, right? Like he was told, hey, I want to do these things. This is what I want to build. This is where I want to go with it. That kind of thing. I feel like it can't be without John, you know?
Yeah, I don't think it.
All right, I
is.
disagree. I think
Yeah.
it would bring more new life to the puzzle. Hopefully, we could solve it. I think
Yeah, for
that
sure.
there are parts that Kit
I'll be right back.
doesn't feel comfortable with or thinks that he could have done differently.
Yeah.
I could see as an artist that just itches at you until you can fix that. Lastly, I don't think John would mind. I think that he was working on this puzzle with Kit together, and I think that he would be proud and happy for somebody to carry this on and keep pushing it through.
Yeah, for sure.
That's my thought. I think it would be wonderful. I think it would be a wonderful thing to do for John.
I think so too. I think I misspoke. What I meant was like I don't think that anything could be made about the tribute that didn't include John at its essence. You know what I mean? Like that. There's nothing that Kit could do. I think I agree with you absolutely that I think it would breathe new life into everything. It would just bring so much a new excitement to everything. I think it would be a wonderful tribute to the tribute, and
it would be
John.
it would be a nice thing to do for John, because John was very proud of this puzzle, and it would just be another tribute to that tribute. And I think he would be touched and honored and pleased. And I think Kit knew him well enough and worked with him closely enough that he would be carrying John through
exactly
the artwork.
Yeah. I kind of agree with that. Like, I feel like Kit's in a weird place now that people don't consider. It's kind of like me with the anniversary with Arthur. With Arthur gone, the people who are working on that hunt are missing part of the puzzle. You know what I'm saying? They're missing half of the puzzle creators.
Yeah.
And Kit's sort of in the same boat. He's missing John. He's missing the lead. And I feel like he's noticed that you guys have gotten to a point and stopped, right? And he doesn't necessarily know how to fix that. You know?
Yeah.
And I think the only way he knows how is let's do another painting.
I think it would be amazing.
And I do think Kit spoke of doing another painting while John was still alive, didn't he?
Yeah, briefly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was brought up.
There's another painting coming. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think it may even be on his website too, where he mentions it. I mean, I wouldn't be against seeing another painting, but
I know they had a lot of drafts. Like, some of their early ideas were really good, and if Kit just took one of those early ideas, like they had this idea for like it was almost like a shelf system with the, I don't know if he's ever talked about it, where like, it was like almost like the painting would be a display case with different things inside of it.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. The design for that didn't have any clues in it. It was just a design, but it was awesome. Like, if he had just taken that original idea and redo the painting that way or whatever, you know, it would still have John in it.
George,
right?
Don't you think this is what part of this sketch is like?
Yeah, I do.
Is Kit going, hey, let me try to help them along, or at least give them something? Because like I had told everybody at the beginning, I think obviously, and even Kit mentioned this on the website, is this was one of his many developmental sketches. For him and JM to figure out, where do we want to go? How do we want to do this?
Yeah.
And I think this is just kind of Kit's way of going, all right, let me throw this out here. We'll see what this does for everybody.
So I think it's important to know, because everything you guys know about this sketch was sort of posted secondhand. So I think it's important for you guys to know how this thing came into my possession and sort of what happened around that and the things that Kit said.
Absolutely.
So the chick that's making the documentary was doing an interview with John Palancar and with Kit, and that we were doing all of this at Kit's house. So we all got together and we went to Kit's house, and Kit has a really, really nice studio. She wanted to get some B-roll of like John drawing and Kit painting and stuff. So after Kit was done doing his painting, John was sitting at a table drawing a skull, which is the most awesome thing in the world to just sit and watch John Palancar draw, but I digress. Kit pulled me aside and he's like, hey man, I can't let you come to my house and leave with nothing. You know, I was like, I don't need anything, man. He was like, no, I want you to leave with some art. He was like, what do you like? And I was like, well, I don't know. And he was like, he was pulling stuff out, and he had a drawing of the axe, like the one that he gave Linda. Right. It was like an earlier version of that. And he was like, how about something like this? And I was like, I don't think I could take any tribute stuff from you. And he there was a bunch of notes and stuff written on it. And he was like, oh no, it's fine. He was like, what would you like to have? And I was like, well, you know, the one thing that I don't have is something that John wrote on. I was like, do you have anything with notes written by John? Like, I don't have his handwriting. And he pulled out this thing, and it was like it was a draft of the tribute verse that I had never seen before. And I read like the first 4 or 5 lines and I was like, dude, you don't want to show me this. Put this away and never let anybody see it ever again. And he was like, well, the only other thing that I have notes with is this. And he pulled out that other sketch, the one that you guys have seen.
Yeah.
And they apparently worked on it together. I asked him, I was like, is it okay if this gets posted online? It was like, I might not post it online. Like, if you tell me not to post it online, I won't. But it's going to be hanging up in my house, and secret people come to my house. Somebody's going to take a picture of this and post it online. And he said yes. And one of his reasons were it'll reinvigorate things. It'll, be another clue into the way their mind was working. And I think somebody else asked him the same question. I was like, will this help people? And he gave me the same answer. He was like, it's not like it's for a completely different hunt. I feel like by the time this was made, that cast was already in the ground, right? So it's the clues that are in that will help you with the old painting. I think it's almost an unfair advantage for you guys because now you have 2 things that you can compare and contrast. And if there's a clue in both of these paintings, it's 100%, helpful.
Right.
Okay.
I like that.
Wow.
So that's the story of how that came to be.
That's cool.
That's a nice story. I mean,
It is.
Because one of the things I brought up, George, was, okay, here's the sketch. It's beautiful. It's weird. It's Kit. What the hell is in this? Or what the hell is in the final painting that isn't in this? And as an artist myself, doing developmental stuff for another treasure hunt that I'm working on right now that I've been hired to do, I understand that I've already done 3 or 4 sketches for something I'm doing. And obviously, as Kit even said, he was developing all this stuff. So there's probably several different drawings. And the only thing that everybody brought up that they couldn't believe, as you look at this sketch, everybody got really excited about it. They went, wait a minute, where the hell is the Heikold facade? Where the hell is the Murdoch fountain? And it's like a couple of people I answered that actually sent me messages directly go, Rich, what would you do? I said, I don't know what I would do with this. I said, I know this is something Kit probably used as a developmental sketch for the immediate part when they started trying to figure out where are we going from here. I said, because obviously the Murdoch's not there, so they wanted to lead us to the Murdoch fountain. Heikold's not there, so that wasn't obviously a thought of the original starting point. We know the finishing point is, because if you're a treasure creator, you're going to have a spot where you're going to put your finished product, but where am I going to lead the searchers that are going to search for this? Where am I going to have them start?
Yeah.
And that's what I thought was interesting about it is there's no Heikold, there's no anything like that.
See, the way I looked at this was a 2-stage process of this painting, right? I looked at it as Kit's going to make sketches based, because he said he got a lot of advice from his dad, right? Kit's going to make sketches, he's going to make drawings, he's going to make concept stuff based on the advice from his father. And then John comes in and John interjects his portion of the puzzle, and maybe he interjects like how he thinks, because he said the tribute worked a lot like how he thought the secret worked. So he sort of interjects the things that are necessary for how he thought the secret worked. And John was a big proponent of like icon to path, for instance. In Chicago, for instance, you have the water tower that tells you Chicago, that leads you on a path to Grant Park. So in order for his puzzle to work like how he thought the secret would work, he needs an icon in Louisville, right?
Right.
There's nothing closer than the Heikold facade. That's the easiest thing to make. It's generic enough to where it could look like just about any building anywhere, Right. But it's specific enough that when you know what it is, you know exactly what it is.
Yep.
So I always saw stuff like that as his way of showing you where to start your path, like you were saying. But things like this sketch might not have the influence of the direction he wants you to take, and is just kind of out of necessity showing you the important things, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know that for sure. That's just like how I would envision, like the little bit I know about
Process.
how it was created. It's how I would envision it was made.
Yeah, that's what we were considering as well. I think we agreed that to make note of the similarities and to make note of what isn't there.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the thing that I brought up was, it's like, because what I'm doing now, and I can't tell you what I'm doing now, but what I'm doing now is we're trying to figure out where to start the searchers. We know where the end game is, but at this point, if he already knew where he was going to put it, and it was like, all right, where are we going to start? If you look at this sketch, and there's no Heigold, there's no whatever that we see now in the final painting that Kit put together, then maybe at one point they're thinking, all right, we'll get them to a major park like The Secret. You're in a major park somewhere. That little post, if you will, with the little diamond on it from what could be Bernheim Bridge in Cherokee Park. Maybe that was part of the intention of, all right, let's see if we can make this work from the beginning of the Bernheim Bridge in Cherokee Park, which to me still, as I look at it, seems kind of crazy growing up there, being on that bridge a million times in my life. Why would anybody else in the country know where it was? But maybe that's just one of the developmental phases, kind of like what I'm going through right now is I'll put shit in the people I'm talking to are like, what? No, I like that, but I don't like this. And all right, let's do this. Let's add this. Let's take this away. So I think that's what this sketch was all about as far as that goes.
Yeah. I think you kind of like skirted over a topic that might be important for searchers. There's something I've noticed, especially in the tribute, that people don't really pay attention to, and that's the process of creating something. Like number one, John said he was building this the way he works The Secret, and I know for sure the vast majority of the people who work on the tribute don't seem to work on it the way John did, right? And I think that's a hindrance to them. But also, when you're looking at a painting, you have to look at it from an artist's eye, and you have to look at it and know that the artist is going to start opposite of the person making the verse. The person making the verse is going to start you at the beginning of a path, right? But the person who's making a painting has to have the end game in mind and has to build the rest of the painting around that, right? So you have to kind of like, instead of playing matchy-matchy with things, if you take the painting as a whole and just think, where are my eyes drawn? What's the focus of this painting? You start to see what's actually important. And it's so much easier when you can do that with the painting and a sketch, right?
Yeah.
Like they both work the same way. They both contain the same things. What are you getting drawn to for each of these? I don't know enough. Like I legitimately haven't really done anything with the tribute at John's request. So I don't know, like when people talk about like the bridge, I don't know where that is. You know, I know the big things like Heigold, but like I see there's so many similarities in these two things. They're hard to ignore.
Yeah. I think
Cole hit on a lot of those, right? Like in his video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who?
Cole.
Cole May.
Yeah.
Okay.
He had a really good video. He hit on a lot of the stuff, and like a lot of the stuff I didn't even see. It was like, okay, so tethers, you know, you have like both people, like both the sketch and the painting have tethers.
Right.
Yeah. So
The figure's kind of shaped in the same way. They both have that dog. They both have like the same yeah.
the dog or the animal is in the same quadrant of the painting, or you know, like
Right.
Do you guys have a decent copy of that sketch? Because I saw like the copy that you guys had wasn't very clear.
Yeah, we could use the better one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just go ahead and post that for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was trying to look at it today, and it was. I mean, I don't have the best eyes. I really.
That's what I was doing.
We're all getting old, George.
Yeah.
I'm getting old.
We're all getting old, and none of us are finding a treasure. But
I saw George this summer. George is really old. Look at him.
I'm super old.
Jesus.
I'm like 60. Crazy.
I got to hug that man this year.
Check the tribute group.
All right.
Yay! Thank you.
Thank
That's
you,
awesome.
George. Thank you.
That's great.
So there you go. That's a little better. You can like read what he's saying, like the keys and Kentucky Cloud and hands. But like him pointing those things out, like
Oh,
that's what's important to him, you know?
yeah.
Absolutely.
I read the key and about fell off my chair. I was like, the key? Because there's like, I think there's multiple keys. I think there's 3 keys. So I was like, the key? That's
Well,
nice.
there's a lot in this painting that's elevated, right? Like everything is being elevated. The key is elevated off the ground. The hand's got a direction arrow pointing up. It's got clouds. And why is everything elevated? Like that. Even the man is elevated in 2 different ways. He's hanging.
Yeah,
So
he is.
he's up in the air. He's above the ground.
And there's 2 keys. Both of them are hanging. Nothing is touching the ground.
If somebody's up in the ground, what does that mean? Does it mean it's a statue above the ground on a pedestal? Is it something that's on a building? Is it something in a park?
George has a really good point because even the bridge is not touching the ground.
Do you guys ever look up? Like, is there anything in a tree?
Constantly.
Yeah, I've looked up.
All right.
Oh my gosh, yes, Rich.
We have
that
for
was
the anniversary hunt too.
Oh, okay. That might be helpful.
That's a dirty word. We're not supposed to talk about that. George can. George can talk about all he wants to.
But it's just like I just look at this and I try to think like kids trying to send you a message, and right now it's elevation.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
No, no,
I
no.
thought it was buried. I thought it was buried.
There's got to be a bench on a hill somewhere.
Why are there no benches in this sketch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The shape's not even in there.
What makes you think, LA? What makes you think there's a bench in the final sketch, in the final painting?
Good point. We do know that a bench is significant because of Edwin and Olivia.
Sure. Versus.
Martian Hill too, I would argue. Or
Yeah, Martian Hill.
Hey, Jimmy, do you remember why I said there was no World's Fair bench in this painting?
No.
I took you over to the plate to the left at Fort Nelson. You remember we're at the Walk of Fame for the Louisville Slugger Museum?
Yeah, I remember
It
that.
was all the way up and down Main Street.
Mm.
I told you and James that it's not a World's Fair bench. It's a Johnny bench. And you looked at me like, wait a minute, I know who Johnny Bench is. And we walked over to the corner of the building at the park. That's where Johnny Bench's plate is.
And then there was that other player that had the name Cassius.
Oh, well, Cassius Clay for Muhammad Ali. But when I took you over to the plate, James looked at me and hit me on the back of the head like, are you fucking kidding me? I went, yeah, it's not a World's Fair bench. It's a Johnny bench. It's right here.
Hey, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
George?
Yeah.
Do you see a face in Kit's painting?
I mean, yeah, but I don't know necessarily that it's supposed to be there. Like, I don't know if we're just sort of seeing something.
Because it'd be
our eyes
awfully
are.
vague. It'd be very hard to pin it on a specific person.
Yeah.
Right.
It could just be that our brains create patterns where there aren't patterns. However,
right there,
this sketch has a very like the painting itself is very, I don't know, it's a different style than this. This is very surrealistic.
Yeah.
And in the surrealistic style, especially like the Dali style, which this sort of kind of seems to be emulating, it wouldn't be out of the question for Dali to hide a face, you know? So it wouldn't be out of the question for Kit to do the same.
And like Kit has said before, Kit has talked about him and his dad and how important, and I understand this as an artist myself, how important symbolism is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at one of the things that led me to different parts of the tribute hunt and going where I went is the lady in the painting, Enid Yandel, if you want to call her that, is looking down. Everybody thinks she's looking down at the dog or down at the T. And I kept looking at it going down, T, downtown is what I came up with. Because when we started seeing all the hints for baseball and Little Slugger, the Walk of Fame, everything that's down there started leading me downtown. And Jimmy knows this because we talked about it, but hell, it's been a while, so I understand he doesn't remember everything I kept talking about because I threw so much shit at him. Is the symbolism here? When I first saw this, I didn't see the face, and then Nick Canick, Carolina, like, what do you mean you don't see the face? They're giving me shit. I go, what? And then Nick sent me a picture. He goes, this is the eye. This, and I'm like, holy shit! And now, like, I think LA and maybe Sunday I said a little while ago is, wow, I can't unsee that now.
Yeah.
I don't know what it means, but I see a big old face there, which would lead me to believe if that's intentional at the beginning, then there's going to be a big face somewhere, not a tiny one.
Well, I mean, negative space clues were used in The Secret, and you've got to think that that's something that John shared with Kit, you know, about how to use negative space clues like that.
Absolutely.
So it's not out of the realm of possibility. I just, like, when I see it, I sort of agree with the comment before. Like, it's not definitive enough to be able to pin on a specific person.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like whoever you're thinking about. Anybody with a mustache, it looks like Mark Twain. It looks like whoever.
Yeah. That makes
I
sense.
think in The Secret, the only true facial match, I could be wrong, would be the Statue of Liberty, but there's only one picture of the Statue of Liberty. You know, Daniel Boone, there's a million different pictures of them. The Statue of Liberty is one image. Therefore, you can easily match that to something. I don't know how we could ever if it would be a big clue. It's a big part of the image, but like it could be a million different things. I could be wrong, but
unless, like, it's not supposed to be a specific person, like, it could be artistically, he could be trying to get across a different message. It could have something to do with something having a face, like the face of something.
Okay.
Or like the head of something, like the head of a river, or the head of the whatever, this part.
Or the face of a building, like a facade.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Rich, did you want to add on to that?
I looked up Johnny Bench. I was hoping he had a mustache, but yeah, I like George's point. Really, I really like George's point.
Johnny Bench was number 5. Cincinnati Reds. What is the number underneath the chin on underneath her chin in the painting? Number 5. A lot of people think it's an S. It's not.
Yeah,
I've created typefaces. I had to as a job. That's number 5 under her chin. Now across the street, there's another plate of Eddie Matthews. What position did Eddie Matthews play? Third base. What's known as position number 5. You look at David. David, when he went to kill Goliath, how many rocks did he have in his pouch, Leanne?
5.
Yeah. Aren't you the one that brought that up 4 years ago?
Not about how many stones he had in his pocket.
No. He had 5 stones in his pouch. He killed the giant with the first one. There's a lot of 5s in this thing.
But you have to think about, like, how John worked puzzles. Would any of that matter to him? Would John think that any of those would be included in The Secret? Like, I feel like John left and I don't know for sure because I don't know the ending of this puzzle, and I know he thought that each of the secret puzzles had this twist at the end, like this super hard twist.
Yeah.
But I feel like he left a roadmap for how you should work the verse exactly, and I feel like you guys have gotten the vast majority of it. It's just like it hasn't been either put together correctly or that end twist. Like, and you know there's going to be a twist because when he dug the thing up, he dug and thought the cast was gone, right? Like he dug forever before he found it, which tells me it's not like right next to a park bench,
right?
You know, otherwise he would know exactly where to dig. It's got to be some sort of triangulation or something.
Yeah, it had to be several feet away from where he thought it was because he said he was even looking at a photograph on his phone. It was like, it's not here, and he missed it by 8-10 inches, whatever.
Yeah.
But, so it's just like you said, George. He knew it wasn't next to a tree. It wasn't next to a certain statue or a wall or anything else. It was out somewhere where you would have to triangulate it, just like they had to triangulate the spot for Chicago. We had a couple different things to put together and line up. And this one, it's my belief that he wants us to line up a couple, 3, maybe 4 different clues. Because when he said that in that one interview, he said the person in the armchair and Boots and Armchair with Dustin and Deidre. He said the person who finds mine will know exactly where to go. To that degree of they're going to go exactly to where it is. That's what he said. Exactly where it is because, and when he said that, I had an aha moment of, oh shit, I'm going to be able to look at that, and that, and I'm going to be going, oh shit, I'm standing on it. That's how I took what he just said in that podcast.
Yeah. So you have a lot of things to work with, though. You have what he said there. You have the difficulty that he had digging, so you know it's in a sort of an open space, but you know that it was in danger of construction, and you know that it was in danger of flooding. So how many places in that park could be all 3 of those things? Right?
And it was difficult for him to recover initially.
Yeah.
Oh, LA.
Because he kind of forgot, so. Or was just off by an inch or 2, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I think the issue, and I'm not at all trying to bring up the anniversary. I know but like the same thing with the anniversary. There is a puzzle going on. Unless we figure out the puzzle in the verse, we probably aren't just going to be able to fall upon it and find it. I think
that's true.
I think this is the same thing. I think we're path, and right at the very end where it goes one cast, learn from methods past, there's a pause, and he's telling you you've got to figure out a riddle.
Yeah.
And that's where we're hung up.
Yeah, there's definitely something else in there.
There's something we won't just fall upon this space that's, as you said, has to be lined up.
Dog is snoring. There's big picture stuff and then there's small picture stuff, right? Like take Boston for instance, right? Big picture for Boston was Italian. There was a lot of Italian stuff, which told you if you were in Boston, you should be looking in the Italian area. There was all kinds of stuff that just screamed Italian. But that big picture stuff was ignored for so long by searchers who were just like, let's dig over at Charles Gate or whatever. And it's the tribute likely has some sort of big picture thing too that everybody's just sort of overlooking this overarching theme that ties the little picture stuff together and makes it make a little more sense.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something like that.
Well, I think the one thing that I've shared with people for probably 3 years now, because I get contacted a lot since everybody knew I grew up in Louisville, but I keep harping back to the one thing Kit said in the interview with the kids and the 10 questions. They said, what do we need to know to find this treasure? What's going to help us along? The first thing Kit says is world history.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I totally ignored that for like a year and a half. And then as I'm searching and I'm LA Jimmy, I'm doing this with all these people and I'm going, wait a minute, why the hell am I in this area? And then I came to the realization and understanding, as I've known for decades, there's zero world history in Cherokee Park.
There's something though, because I know of a lot of places that John talked about burying something, right? There's, he was talking about a place in Arizona that had a lot of Indian heritage, right? Like he wanted to build something around that. There was the anniversary place. There was a reason for that. There was a reason for every location that was chosen. So there has to be a reason for Cherokee Park. And going back to that big picture stuff, it's probably one of the big picture. It's probably really obvious what it is, or at least will be in hindsight. But it's just like, it's so simple or so direct or so obvious, it's just overlooked and not deemed important. Does that make sense?
It does. And what I keep going back to with several people I've talked to over the years is the very first line in the verse. Your way has a twin. Everybody started looking for twins. And I was like, and then when JM confirmed the fact that the twins were not identical, I went to to me, what seemed obvious was the second word, your way. Your way, your path, your trail, whatever you do, there's two ways to get to this final destination. That's how I took it.
Yeah,
Two
that's
different
how I
ways.
take it.
There's
Yeah.
two different ways to go. So when you're looking at the black and white artwork the kid did for the the verse and the story, where there's the dragon head from Christensen Fountain, and then the two lilies, which everybody thinks is
Cattail?
They think it's cattails, but it's not. It's lilies.
Oh, okay.
Because what's interesting about that is
Looks like cattails.
Cattails.
no. Cattails don't have three leaves coming out, but
What?
a dragon lily does. The dragon lily has one stamen. Other lilies have 50 stamens in them. What's the symbol of Louisville? The fleur de
The
lis,
fleur de
Fleur de lis. Yeah.
just like it is in France. That was developed by the French, and way before that. So what I'm seeing that as saying in the black and whites is dragon lily. A dragon lily is a fleur de lis. That's what a fleur de lis actually is. It's a dragon lily.
But honey,
Yeah.
just think about this for a second. In that sketch, are those dragon lilies or are those cattails?
The sketch has the cattails at the bottom of the fountain. The dragon lilies were a symbol of Louisville to help you find Louisville.
So on the lore page where we've got the other dragon head from
Dragon
Christian
head and a lily.
and those are lilies, they're not cattails?
No, it's a lily. On the original, it's a lily.
We're looking for the verse page.
On the black and white.
Yeah, that one.
Because a dragon lily is a purple flower and it only has one stamen. It doesn't have a bunch of them like a regular lily.
See, to me that looks like the head and the tail of a message coming together. A head and a cattail.
So,
Yeah.
so what are you saying that Pan's holding there in the left hand?
That's a cattail.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got two things confirming cattails.
When you take a cattail out of the water, you'll have leaves at the bottom. If you take it out of the top, what you're seeing there is not a cattail. There's no reason for that clue to be there twice. Kind of like
Wait, those
are
aren't corn dogs?
Yes. corn dogs.
Well, they're considered nature's corn dogs, by the way.
Yeah.
But that's a lily. It's actually a dragon lily, which is, if you look at the black and white like we have up here right now, dragon lily is a fleur de lis.
I liked George's idea the other day whenever he said, and I don't remember what podcast this was on or what stream, maybe Sunday Fun Day it must have been, where he said you have the two dragons mirrored.
Yeah.
And then today when I was putting this together, I was like, wait a second, this cattail is upside down, and then now it's like right side up. So, I mean, I don't have any idea of like for what that means or anything like that. But on the Pan statue, there's a whole bunch of cattails that come out at his feet and they're right side up. And then there's this one that has, the grouping of leaves around it that is upside down. So I thought that was kind of an interesting juxtaposition, I guess, with the two dragons mirroring one another and then the cattail upside down.
Exactly.
How do you guys read this verse? Do you read it as if each line is like you're on a path and then each line should be one stop on the path? Or do you, because it's got a, like, I feel embarrassed to say this. It was the first time I've really looked at the way it, like, I'm just sitting here reading it. The first time I've ever looked at the way it's laid out. It's got a very specific layout.
It's symmetrical.
Like it's 3-3-3.
Yeah, it is.
Blank 3. But
Yeah.
and thinking about the way John thought the secret worked, he had this thing which was directions versus observations, right? And it seems to be like a set of direction or a set of observations, a set of directions, a set of observations, a set of directions, right? So he's like, if you interpret it, I'm sure I'm going to piss a lot of people off, but if you interpret it as like your way has a twin, a man of adventure stands at the beginning and end, you could label that an observation, and you can say in the beginning of Cherokee Park is a loop. You can go one of two ways. It's two ways.
Right.
Your way has
Yeah.
a twin. A Man of Adventure stands at the beginning and end of that. That's an observation for one part of the verse. Now you start cross four spans. I think you guys said those were bridges.
Could be.
So that's your instruction, cross four spans, and then you have observation, and then you have, more direct. It seems to be like, to me anyway, it seems to be direction, observation, as opposed to every single line needs to mean something different.
Right.
Yeah. And we've been hitting on the three, like really coming through a lot. And there's three keys, maybe, in the original sketch. And that kind of like made me think of like, it's important to find all clues.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just really weird that it's ABC 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
It really
that's
is.
pretty crazy.
We have to figure that out. I mean,
Yeah, that's where it lies, I think.
you can't, until we figure out
Really
ABC
bad.
1, 2, 3, Olivia, Edwin, all that shit. We're never gonna. That's important stuff. We can't just, there's a puzzle there that we need to focus on his verse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the prelude says.
It sure does.
I don't know. Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
From what I know about him, he would make it hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of like, do you take what A is talking about, what B is talking about, what C is talking about? You're just like, I don't know, like a man emblem, or I don't know. I wrote this out the other day, but it was something about, I have to look it up. Sorry. I'm not going to ramble, but
It's weird to me that you have an emblem of bee in here. There's a bee in the painting. It's in a butterfly, and there's butterfly emblems all over that park. Like, that seems pretty obvious to me.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe too obvious.
I don't know that I would go too obvious. Like with Kit saying that he did this very quickly, and with the final painting not looking anything like the concept sketch, I don't think I could throw out too obvious. I think I could throw out he didn't think, like he didn't think it through and see and figure out if it was too obvious.
Yeah.
can I ask George, can I put you on the spot as a puzzle, as someone who's had experience designing a puzzle? What do you think of the statement of too obvious? When people are like, it's too obvious. Like, that is not the Hogan fountain because it's too obvious. That's not.
Well, you don't know, right?
Yeah.
Like your brain works different from mine. So I may put something in a puzzle that I think super creative, but you see it and you just go, oh, I know exactly what that is, right? Like it's in the anniversary hunt. I'm sure there's something that I was like, oh, this is super creative. And then when it was put out, somebody was like, oh, it's immediately that. Like, you come from a different frame of reference than I do, right? Especially somebody like Rich, right? Somebody who grew up in the area.
Yeah.
Can see like the Heigl facade and know exactly what it is. Where somebody like me in Florida or John Michaels in Alabama or Milwaukee wouldn't. Like it wouldn't immediately click, right?
Right.
Like the St. Augustine painting. John, in this past interview, he said that the Castile was covered up because it was too obvious, but he didn't know that. He's not from St. Augustine. He doesn't know that there's only one of those.
Yeah.
He doesn't know that the entire city knows what it is. He just knows there was a Castile.
Right.
So too obvious really shouldn't. I mean, it shouldn't really come into play. Like you just don't know. You're just guessing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Totally.
I don't know. Or maybe I'm just talking on my ass and I don't know what I'm talking about.
I didn't mean to put anybody on the spot. That's like one of the things that I've always wondered. You hear like catchphrases like out of the box or too obvious, or you know what I mean? Like a lot thrown out on the groups and stuff. And I was like, we have a puzzle maker here. Let's ask him,
I mean, you have to think in terms of probability, right? If you've got a lot of stuff in one general area, and this very obvious thing fits in that general area, it's probably right, even though it's obvious. It was probably just the obviousness of it was probably just overlooked.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think John, like, I'll say this, as tricky as John is, I don't think he's going to mislead anybody. I don't think he's out to mislead anybody with this. I don't think there's going to be any, like, red herrings, as it were. Like, I think things are going to be tricky and you're not going to be able to figure stuff out, but I don't think he's going to intentionally mislead you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So he's not going to throw in something that's not important in some way.
I agree.
Gotcha.
He's not going to be like, oh, here's an obvious thing that they'll latch onto and trip them up. He's not going to do that.
No,
Gotcha.
I agree.
I might do that. He's not.
Oh shit.
Might?
It's a lot nicer than that.
That's a big word, George. I might do that. Oh, it's funny.
But yeah, I think just from the little bit that I've looked at the tribute and the community, I think there's something big that you guys have missed. You know, something that maybe everybody takes for granted as being obvious, but it's very important.
Nice.
And you got to figure out ABC 1, 2, 3. It's pretty simple.
Absolutely.
It's the Jackson 5. Like what, you know?
Hey, there's your 5
That goes
again,
back
man.
to your 5, Rich.
Mhm.
Man. Yeah.
Hey, Sunday, is this being recorded so people can watch it later too?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's on
Okay.
the YouTube channel. It's on My Games. I set up a YouTube channel, you guys.
Yay,
my.
Sunday. Woohoo.
I think we already have about 3 million views. This is great.
We have 14. We have 14. So, but you know,
14. Pete Rose.
We're on our way.
that's a good number. It's a good nice round number. We are streaming to 3 places simultaneously. Probably. It says the button says that we are. And it might be happening. But yeah. And I only like left the stream because my internet like died in the middle stream for like 20 minutes. So far, really successful stream for me.
Well done.
We
Well
missed
done.
you.
I didn't like keep you guys, did I? Were you guys weren't about to leave?
No, of course not.
No.
No. And George, you know how we roll. We don't mean to. Like we come on and we're like, okay, we're gonna stay for like an hour.
Yeah. I watched those anniversary streams are like 8 hours long. What are you guys talking about?
Well, that's there's more squirrels on the anniversary stream, so
always
that's how it goes.
Yeah.
It shouldn't take that long to solve the puzzle.
I know, right? We always end up talking for like 3 hours, 4 hours, and we don't mean to. It's not
Maybe
like
it's that
roll.
big picture thing you guys are missing.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's a good point.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of like Chicago, right? Like Chicago already had its theme of, you know, like all these really famous people, like, you know, the presidents clustered right there. And then you had the names of like also really famous like composers and stuff like that. So you could use those initials, right? Yeah.
Well,
That-
Chicago, you can see that working because you have the 2 sketches, right? Like you have the 2 sketches for Chicago. So you can see the big picture stuff. You can see that there are no small clues. There's no fence and fixture. There's no like Bowman or anything in any of the sketches, but the big picture stuff's there. The Windy City stuff, like both of those sketches center around wind in some way.
Yep.
So it's
That's
like,
interesting.
yeah, big picture stuff was included well before they figured out how to include the little tiny details.
I think Mark Van Dam figured out like the whole, and I don't know, this is something like we'll never know, I guess, but he postulated that the castle hat was because Chicago was at that time like the city of architecture. Like it was known as like leading in architecture, kind of almost like not a nickname, but like kind of just something that it was known for. And then you had like Sullivan in there. It's very prominent architecture architect and things like that. I was like, you know, I really like that idea. That's pretty great.
I mean, it falls along with the sketches too, because even as far back as like was it the first sketch, they were talking about Sullivan's Patch,
Yeah.
you know? So, yeah, I don't disagree.
Yeah. Well, that was pretty great.
Anyway,
George, have you ever met Joe?
No.
Hi, George.
Okay.
Hi.
I'm a recent follower of all this, but I'd say within the last year.
Nice.
And I'm also in Louisville.
Oh, nice.
So
I'm George. I've been doing this a while. But it's nice to meet you.
yeah, you
How
too.
did you find the tribute?
I was looking for a hobby, and I just Googled puzzles because I enjoy puzzles, and this randomly came up. And well, initially it was obviously the
secret.
But then I saw there was one, and before knowing that there were forums and Facebook pages and all that, it took me to Kit's site, and I saw the verse and the image, and being from where I'm from, that was a pretty big wow.
Yeah.
You
got that big
so-
picture clue real quick.
Yeah. So it was kind of in your face. And I pass it all the time, and so I started looking a little bit more into it, slowly, kind of getting deeper in the weeds, and it's been pretty fun. So, but I don't like to go and probe and dig if I'm not sure that's where I'm going to be.
Yeah.
So I'm still very much on the narrowing down a couple sites part.
Cool.
So
You need to come hang out with me. We'll make some shit up if somebody gives us hell.
Yeah. I'm sure we can figure something out. Sodium carbonate or whatever.
I'm telling you.
Calcium. Yeah. So I know, being here and being close to that particular park, if anyone around has any questions about it that they haven't heard answered, feel free to reach out.
Oh, you opened the floodgates. Well, at least to 14 people.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, you and I are getting together. There's no way we won't.
Nope. Yeah. Next time you're down here, let me know.
I can't wait.
I'm on the Facebook page, and so just reach out to me, and we'll get together for sure.
That'll be great.
You guys should have a Louisville meetup. Maybe
That
I
would
can
be fun.
maybe I can snag the painting from Kit and just bring it to Louisville.
Wow.
Oh, that would be so awesome.
Yeah.
Should we like kind of try to? I thought maybe we should try to plan that for like April, or something was a little warmer.
Yeah, a little
Plenty
warmer
of
would be
time
good.
and go from there.
I did. I had a thought about something that I couldn't. I don't. I couldn't spearhead it just for moral reasons. But if Kit's talking about doing another painting, and you guys have like a anniversary coming up in February, if you guys held like a GoFundMe and paid him to make a painting so that he made it a priority,
Yeah.
like you probably get him to make a painting for $1,000 or less.
Oh yeah.
I bet he would make, because he's got a lot of, he's doing work right now. He's
Yeah.
trying to support him
Yeah.
and his girlfriend and their new house and
Yeah.
their cats.
Yeah, I'm one of his few Patreon subscribers, so
For
hopefully
him,
that'll help buy a loaf of bread or something.
yeah, I'm one of his Patreon subscribers too. I keep being like, Kit, come on, do a class or something. Just do
Yeah,
something.
he actually just texted. He messaged me today. We've been talking on and off, and he's like, "Yeah,
Nice.
sorry, I understand if you'd want to unsubscribe because there's nothing on there." I'm like, "It's not about that." So
Yeah, I feel like
I actually enjoy the artwork.
I do too.
the podcast has a Patreon too, and I think because I don't publicize it, so not many people know, but I think we have like 4 Patreons, and basically the Patreon money that gets paid to the podcast just gets sort of redirected through my Patreon subscription to Kit. It just goes straight to him.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, that's a good idea. I would love to
That
see
is a
you.
good idea.
I bet he'd do it.
That's a great idea.
All right. So we
How much does an original Kit Palin car go for these days? I mean, I guess like you said, like $1,000, which is which is pretty good for like versus JJP for like 30,000, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
I want to say his I want to say he posted a price. The only public price he's ever posted, I think, was for that tall hat that he did, and it was like $900. And
Yeah.
I've seen it. It's gorgeous. Like if the quality of that painting, because it's like hanging over his fireplace right now, and if the quality of that painting is what he provides for $1,000, that's insane.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
I'm gonna look up and see how many folks are in the tribute group. Because even
I'm
if like,
charging a little more than that for some of mine.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah, he's like, but I think Kit, like, because Kit has other income. You know, he's not. While he enjoys making fine art, like it's not his sole thing, right?
Sure.
And he wants to. He's, I don't know. He's building up a collector base.
yeah,
so you guys chime in here and tell me this: if we were to do something near, let's say, Tornado Day, do you know what I mean by Tornado Day?
Yeah.
yeah. You were saying earlier the
anniversary of the tornado.
yeah
Yep.
that hit Louisville.
Yeah, it'll be this
Same
next
day
year,
John
right?
died.
What is it?
Same day John died.
Oh, jeez.
April 3rd.
Really?
Yeah. When I told his dad that he died on Tornado Day here, his dad just broke down in my arms and fell into me.
He's the sweetest man.
Oh God, he's incredible. But there's one of those things that blew me away. He and Kit make this treasure hunt and they do all this shit, and then he turns around and dies on the most important day in the history of Cherokee Park. April 3rd.
That's just.
It blew my mind. When that came over, I was just done. So my point is, I'll bring this up, is April 3rd, I think next year is on a Wednesday. I mean, to me, I can go anytime. I don't have a job anymore. I sold my business, so I can go whenever. But is it more logical to try to set up on like maybe April 5th, that Friday, Saturday, the 6th, something like that, to get people to come in, and maybe we can kind of have a meetup then again? What works for you guys?
That's a good idea. Beginning of April.
I would love to do that. Because then we could get George up here, because the temperature in Louisville is, it's not 87 like it is down there, but it's probably gonna be
You got to be careful about making it April 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do that.
Some people might not show up.
I mean, Rachel might even want to come up.
She's been there before. She didn't like the drive. She'll probably come.
Yeah,
I'll say this: you were talking about his dad. So I don't talk to his dad or his stepmom much, but I talk to his mom and his sister quite a bit. Yeah. And I don't think you guys realize how important the group is to them, because they're still taking this really hard, especially his sister. Like Nikki takes this very hard. There are days where she's just like, John pops up in her mind in the morning and she just breaks down and doesn't stop crying all day. Yeah. And I feel like when they come onto the tribute group and see how you guys talk about and how you remember John, it helps. So I feel like you guys don't realize exactly how much you help his family. That's something
George,
I'm thankful for.
Yeah,
George,
nice benefit.
George, did you see the painting I did for her of John?
No.
You know why?
Why? Did you just give it to her?
She still won't show it to anybody. She hasn't opened it in 3 years. It's still in a box. She's so emotional about it. She hired me to do this painting of John in front of his electronic synthesizer board. He was at some concert somewhere.
Yeah.
Did this painting of him. And I said, okay, can I go ahead and post this to my page? She said, no. I said, have you looked at it? She goes, no, I can't yet. This was 3 years ago. She still has not opened the box. It's still in this box. It's been there since he died.
Yeah.
She's an emotional wreck, and she's an absolute sweetheart.
Yeah. Nikki just got married. His sister just got married and recently moved like 2 hours from my house. I still haven't met up with her again. I should, but
yeah,
I just hope when I go that my family loves me and misses me as much as they love him. Like it's hard for them.
Yeah, it definitely is. I just thought it was really cool. For anybody who doesn't know, JM's dad, if you guys have ever seen the video of the cop, they kept showing this cop on Facebook and shit all the time. And this guy looks like Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Have you guys, any of you seen this cop that looks, identical to him? You wouldn't even know it wasn't him.
Can't say that.
This guy shows up, and I'm talking to JM's dad at the bench ceremony we had in the park, and he's telling me, he goes, "Oh yeah, that's my ex-partner." I go, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "You know the guy who looks like Dwayne The Rock Johnson?" I go, "Yeah, down in." He goes, "Yeah, that's my ex-partner," and I was like, "Are you shitting me?" He goes, "No." And he pulls up a picture on his phone. He shows it to me. He goes, "This is my partner. When I retired a few years ago, I just kept telling him, I'm going to keep telling you. I'm going to keep telling everybody I know that you're my ex-partner." And it turns out it was JM's dad who was his partner for 20-something years, wherever the hell they were down in, I guess, Georgia or wherever they are. I can't remember.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and it blew my mind. He had all these pictures of them arresting people, doing different things at gatherings and outings and shit. He was his partner. If you've never seen the video, look it up. Look up Dwayne The Rock cop or whatever, and you'll be like, "Who the hell is this guy?" It's actually JM's dad's partner.
That's pretty
cool.
fun.
It's crazy as shit. It really is. And his dad was really cool. It was a lot of fun to talk to. And then both of his sisters, as Georgia said, you talk to them and they're just, my God, they are totally missing JM. It's just killing them.
Yeah.
Such a good guy. Where else we going with this, guys?
Is that about it?
I think so.
All right, guys.
I'm heading down to Louisville with Joe. We're gonna go dig this thing up tonight.
All righty.
Does anybody have alcohol? I like to.
George, let's do another shot.
I do.
I do.
Shot.
To John.
There we go.
Oh, hold on. I'm ready.
Oh, okay. We'll wait.
To John.
To John.
To John.
Hello.
Have a good night, guys.
You too.
See y'all.
Bye.
Night night.
Be good.
Sorry, I'm ending it. It's taking a minute.
All right, I'll see you.
All right. I mean, you guys, it's up to you. You can hang out. I'm just.
No, I'm trying to get up.
Okay.
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
trying to
Sunday, what the?
Hold
Sunday,
on.
what the?
Hold on, we're still live. I can't. It's not my.
Oh.
That was so sweet, though.
Shot.
Yeah. We got to do the. I don't know. I think it would be sweet for a new tribute painting.
Me too.
Well, it says I'm having trouble connecting. I'm not even. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm still live because it says
I'm
I'm live.
seeing say live and it's
11 people.
seconds.
It's like I can't connect to disconnect. My internet, I swear it.
It's that shot in your hand.
Yeah.
Here's a cat. I can't have the tree on because they keep climbing it.
All right, hold up. I can't just leave because then it doesn't end it.
I can't quit you.
I can't. I can't. All right, you 8 people. You got me and Evie for the foreseeable future.
That's a terrifying thought.
Nice lights, though.
Yeah, there, and I can do a quick little show. Like I said, the tree is off because the cats keep climbing it, and so I do not wish to have it plugged in. But you can see the white lights on my deck that I did. There is some snow, and then out here, the little trees. And what's funny is the green around that tree trunk.
Yeah.
Those are brand new lights. I put them up, and then a couple days ago, the middle section of the green went out, and then today they're back on.
Oh,
okay.
They're fickle.
Yoda.
That's a fickle pickle. I'm just
Yeah.
getting silly now. God dang, I can't end this. What should I do?
Tell it you quit it.
I quit it. I quit you. I want to quit you.
Go to
Usually
more.
I have the opposite problem. Usually I'm like, I can't get on.
Yeah, no
I
kidding.
can't start it.
I can't start it. You start it. Well,
Never
can't
have I
start it,
ever.
you start it.
Never have I ever had the problem of not being able to end a stream.
Here, I'll get rid of everybody. I'll show you inside of my fridge. That's
Oh, because your fridge went out.
yes. My year and a
That's
half old
not
fridge.
nice.
Ice maker is empty and turned off. Well,
Who's the note for?
that was before I realized it was dying, and the ice was melting.
Ah.
Wow, it is. It's 65 degrees in here, in my fridge. Yeah.
Nice.
Freezer's empty. Ooh. Oh, I got that from I cannot hold this for the life of me. This is one of the things I got from a Secret Santa last year.
Oh, nice. Nice. Did you sign up for Secret Santa this year?
I did, and my first
You don't say.
I do say Sunday and Monday, I think. So here's one side. I only have so many magnets, or so much space. And there's that side. We have. Oh my gosh, I really can't hold this. There's Yoda,
Aw.
my Heidi cat. Big boy Hamilton.
Oh, if you're gonna get your Secret Santa, hold on. I'm gonna go get mine.
Oh, I got mine. Tim was mine. Uh-oh, she left me. Why am I only seeing myself? She left me. I don't know how to hang this up for everybody. Maybe if I just leave. Good night, everybody. Merry Christmas. It's December 1st.
Wait, did you leave? I still can't leave. Okay, well, I just meant to go get my Secret Santa to show everybody. It's not really my Secret Santa. It's just because I didn't sign up, but it's just like a super. Hold on, she's calling me. You gotta come back on the stream, Evie. So